What's that? Not yet, I don't think. I didn't even check with them today.
Yeah, they just told me they can get the new stickers. I'm like, oh, we said about our banners. I was like, I'll be back.
The banners, the presiding judge needs to call in, because it has to be the staff that makes the request. And I told him that the other day, and he said he was going to check. But Amanda was checking to see if they had one there at checking because she can't be there, but she was checking with the staff to see if they have one.
Okay.
So, and she'll get it over. And then the other is the
Stickers.
stickers that they'll figure out. So
Go tell my little fans. Go tell my little people.
Yeah. Because have you seen the new stickers?
No, I haven't seen them.
They're awesome. Whoever it was, I think she did a contest with them, and they're fun. Well, we'll get them, even if I have to go hunt her down. It's hard to believe that we're already halfway through the year, right? Here we go.
That's just not right. That's right.
Uh-oh.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
I hadn't seen you in a while.
What's that?
I hadn't seen you in
I
a
haven't
while.
been in here in a while.
He's been out and about like crazy. Lorenzo, how are you, sir? Good. I haven't seen you all day. I think it was in passing the first thing this morning. No, it was Dorothy just 2 or 3 times this morning.
Maybe her.
Because I saw Dorothy a lot. Yeah, I was at the community center for a bit and doing that, and then she was. Yeah, and then I was in the office, so I probably snuck in and was trying to. You know how quiet time is. It's get it when we can get it, right?
It's drinking water report time.
Oh boy. So we need to mail that out too. We need to mail that out too.
No, as long as we can just put like that little
The little blurb.
The little that barcode, and then you know how. I'm sure we'll be okay. I thought. How long we gotta be for it to get it? Give me time for it. Give me time. It usually takes a couple of times. I just mix up some of the. I'll be with them. You say.
He knows you're there. Obviously you are, I guess. You didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Well, because we just.
Here, how are you?
Great. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't know you needed like
That's it, why are you asking me that?
Department of Cultural Affairs were there, both the director
He said, yeah, tomorrow.
of Shippo.
Really good. Okay, yeah, I mean, just details. You know.
Chris said it was, I think it was like. Audit, so.
Yeah, it was very, okay, obviously, okay.
Are you serious? Or should I like? Think so.
Oh, there it
Get your jackets.
Oh, Russell, they said thank you for helping them get the new stickers and our flags. They think they can get more voters with the feather flags.
I think so.
I go, remember
too.
you guys, it's called the feather flag, not the little thingamajigs that fly in the wind.
Little-
What are you talking about?
It's a perfectly wrong.
We're not giving up the fight, you guys, we're gonna get them.
Just in case. How are you, Vero?
Something's not.
Jerry, you're gonna get.
Where's next one?
Well, you're gonna catch him now, Jerry, you don't have a question.
He's the only one.
Yeah.
I don't mean anything like that, but I'm in a constant struggle. I just don't like sweets. Oh, you don't? See, I like it. No problem. Safety stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And my problem is I have savory then sweet. If
Sure.
it's still there, then I go for savory again, and then I have to have sweet again. It's horrible. Just cut down carbs, all of it, because.
Screenshot and send it to us.
And I had, which I had. I went to that historic preservation. And then there was
Those are good, yes.
the empanadas from Leo's Bakery. Have you had them?
No, there's some savory.
Chile and green chili and
Chorizo? No.
There's some with chorizo
Oh,
and potatoes. Oh
Yep.
my God.
that's what I.
But and they're crust.
No. That's all you go for.
But
Leo's, I'll have to,
Leo's on Madrid.
yeah. I gotta,
Check it because if you like, I hadn't been to it in years and years and years, but then I was at Loma Heights as a school nurse there. So it's like literally like less than 2 doors down, and you're like, oh, gotta do a run to Leo's.
that's good to know that they have the chorizo and stuff.
Yes, they have savory ones, so it's
Right.
delicious.
Ready to roll?
Up the insulin.
What's that? What do you mean? Up the for the cookies.
That and the empanadas.
Empanadas.
But if they're savory too?
Yeah, because that's.
Because of the bread.
Oh, yeah. Yes. There's a bunch of carbs in them too. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here today. Today is Tuesday, May 26, 2026. The time is now 6 o'clock in the evening. We are here at the Mesilla Town Hall in the boardroom for our regularly scheduled Board of Trustees meeting. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I vote please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next order of business is roll call and determination of a quorum. Gloria, if you would, please. Present.
Here.
Present.
Here.
Present.
Thank you very much. Next item on, we do have a defined quorum. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
So
as it
moved.
Has been proposed.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevadas, second by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek. And if the motion will carry as it's been motioned unless there is discussion or objection. Thank you very much for the approval of the agenda as it has been presented. Next item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT meeting minutes from May 11th, 2026. A purchase requisition for Desert Peaks Architects Town Hall Project, $26,863.72. Purchase requisition Moles and Corbin for Paisano Road improvements, $71,467.08. Purchase requisition for APIC Solutions Community Center Security, $12,038.57. Got an extra 3 in there. Purchase requisition Souter Miller and Associates for the Mesilla water well and water tank for $21,185.22. Purchase requisition Alpha Southwest for the Colonias Emergency Funding, $67,586.91. Purchase requisition Souter Miller and Associates Parker, the Commemorativo Planning and Engineering, $14,338.21. Purchase requisition CES for signage construction, $3,231.32.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Cadena.
Yes.
Is that right? And there again, the motion will carry unless there is discussion or objection. Thank you very much for the approval of the consent agenda that does include the BOT meeting minutes for May 11th, the purchase requisition for Desert Peaks, a purchase requisition for Moles and Corbin, purchase requisition for APIC, purchase requisition for Souter Miller, purchase requisition for Alpha Southwest, purchase requisition for Souder Miller again, and another purchase requisition for CES. Next item on the agenda is presentations. We do have a few proclamations to be read this evening, as well as a little update there. I wanted to do a proclamation for our Public Works Department. We missed Public Works Week, which was last week, but we definitely were able to celebrate a little bit for our team, who does an amazing job. But I think to formally recognize them in a proclamation is a wonderful thing that we can do on our side. And our team, our entire Public Works team, has a very big heart for our community and taking care of it. And it comes and stems from their leader. So thank you for that. So without ado, let's read the proclamation as read. Public Works Week, May 17th through the 23rd, 2026. Whereas Public Works professionals provide essential services that support the health, safety, welfare, and quality of life for the residents, businesses, and visitors of the town of Mesilla. Whereas the dedicated efforts of Public Works employees contributes to the daily to the maintenance and operation of streets, parks, drainage systems, public facilities, water and wastewater infrastructure, sanitation efforts, beautification initiatives, and community events throughout the town. And whereas Public Works services are critical to the efficient functioning of local to economic development, environmental stewardship, public safety, and the preservation of community character and pride. And whereas the town of Mesilla recognizes the professionalism, dedication, and commitment demonstrated by Public Works personnel who often behind the scenes and in all conditions to ensure reliable municipal services for the community. And whereas Public Works Week serves as an opportunity to recognize and celebrate the important contributions made by works professionals and to increase public awareness of the essential role public infrastructure and services play in everyday life. And whereas the town of Mesilla also recognizes the continued efforts of its Public Works team in supporting beautification projects, historic preservation efforts, parks and facility improvements, community cleanup initiatives, infrastructure maintenance, and special community events that enhance the quality of life within the town. Now, therefore, I, Russell Hernandez, Mayor of Town of Mesilla, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, do hereby proclaim May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as Public Works Week in the town of Mesilla and encourage all residents to recognize and thank Public Works professionals whose dedication and service help keep Mesilla safe, functional, beautiful, and welcoming for all. Signed and sealed and proclaimed this day of May 2026, Russell Hernandez, Mayor of Town of Mesilla. Thank you. This is your opportunity to give a speech if you want, Lorenzo. But again, thank you for all your hard work and to the team's hard work. It is amazing to see what you all do, and it's great to have a little bit of celebration here. Next, we have a proclamation for Historic Preservation Week, where we have another department that has because May is Historic Preservation Month, but Liana takes the lead in historic preservation along with her leader Eddie over here, Mr. Salazar. So it's great when we can recognize that, and we have a deal that she has going on right now. If you haven't seen it there, and she's been talking about it, but this started this morning. And we did this proclamation we read at the blacksmith shop and had a little kind of opening there to get her event here going. But in this, we're recognizing Historic Preservation Week for the town of Mesilla as a whole. And so with that, we'll read the proclamation. Whereas the town of Mesilla is proud of its rich culture, heritage, historic architecture, and deep traditions that reflect the history, resilience, and spirit of the families and communities who have shaped Mesilla through generations. And whereas historic preservation plays a vital role in protecting the unique character, identity, and sense of place that makes Mesilla one of the most historically significant communities in the state of New Mexico. And whereas preserving historic buildings, cultural landscapes, and community traditions contributes to the economic vitality, educational opportunities, tourism, and community pride, while ensuring that future generations may continue to experience and appreciate Mesilla's history and heritage. And whereas the town of Mesilla recognizes and appreciates the ongoing efforts of residents, property owners, historians, preservation advocates, staff, boards, commissions, and community partners who are actively working to preserve and restore historic properties throughout the community. And whereas the town acknowledges the important preservation work being undertaken on historic structures, including the historic blacksmith shop property, which represents an important connection to Mesilla's cultural and economic history. And whereas the town is also committed to continued efforts to update and strengthen its historic registry in order to better document, recognize, and protect the significant historic resources that contribute to the community's identity and legacy. And whereas the town further recognizes the importance of preserving not only buildings and places, but also the stories, traditions, cultures, and contributions of the families who have helped shape Mesilla through history. And whereas future preservation initiatives will continue to focus on celebrating the diverse families, traditions, and cultural heritage of Mesilla in ways that honor the community's past while inspiring future generations. And whereas Historic Preservation Week serves as an opportunity to celebrate the value of preservation, encourage community involvement, and recognize the collective responsibility to safeguard Mesilla's historic and cultural treasures. Now, therefore, it be proclaimed that Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Town of Mesilla hereby recognize and proclaim May 26th to the 29th, 2026 as Historic Preservation Week in the Town of Mesilla and encourage all residents, businesses, organizations, and visitors to recognize and support the preservation of the town's historic properties, cultural heritage, traditions, and community stories. Signed, sealed, and proclaimed this day of May 2026, Russell Hernandez, Mayor. Thank you. And Liana is they had to switch around on she would be here otherwise to talk about this event that she's going or doing, but she had to switch around a little bit of the deal that they have going on where they have the movie actually playing tonight, which wasn't planned to be this evening. It was planned to be tomorrow, but the Rio Grande ended up switching those dates and times on her on the last minute, so she got that flipped on there. Otherwise, she would be here for that part. But great pride and commitment there, just like our Public Works team. Next on the agenda, we have another proclamation for our Palacio Bar for their 90th anniversary. And I had the opportunity to attend this anniversary. I did see Trustee Cadena there as well to read the proclamation on their date of their anniversary, which was this past Saturday. But the proclamation reads, honoring the legacy and 90th anniversary of Palacio Bar. Whereas in 1936, Pablo Salcido and his wife Candelaria Cala Salcido established what would become a cherished institution in the town of Mesilla, beginning with a community dance celebration that grew into the beloved Salcido's Dance Hall and later Palacio Bar and Cafe. And whereas Palacio Bar and Cafe became an important gathering place for residents, visitors, and workers from President Franklin D. Roosevelt's civilian conservation camp during a transformative period in American history, serving as a center of hospitality, music, culture, and community connections. And whereas through the decades, Palacio Bar endured the hardships of wartime rationing, economic change, and the passage of generations while continuing to preserve the spirit, traditions, and character that make Mesilla unique. And whereas following the devastating fire of August 1991 that destroyed the interior of Palacio Bar, Belia Salcido Chavez and her husband, Angel Kelly Chavez, together with the support of family, friends, and the Mesilla community, rebuilt and restored Palacio Bar, ensuring that its legacy would continue for future generations. And whereas under the leadership and the dedication of Belia Salcido Chavez, daughter of founders Pablo and Candelaria Salcido, Palacio Bar has flourished as one of the oldest liquor establishments in the state of New Mexico, while continuing to celebrate local culture through music, dancing, entertainment, and community fellowship. And whereas in 2026, Palacio Bar proudly celebrates 90 years of continuous business, representing resilience, entrepreneurship, family heritage, and enduring traditions of Mesilla. And whereas the town of Mesilla recognizes Palacio Bar as an important historical and cultural landmark whose legacy has contributed significantly to the identity, economy, and social fabric of the community for nearly a century. Now therefore it be proclaimed that the mayor and board of trustees of the town of Mesilla hereby recognize and honor Palacio Bar for its 90 years of service, history, hospitality, and cultural contributions to the town of Mesilla, and extend sincere appreciation to the Salcido and Chavez families for preserving a treasured community institution. Be it further proclaimed that the town of Mesilla congratulates Palacio Bar on this remarkable milestone and wishes continued success for generations to come. Signed, sealed, and proclaimed this day in May 2026. Russell Hernandez, Mayor, Town of Mesilla. Thank you. And it's great when we have a business that's 90 years old. And we're going to continue to celebrate some of these great businesses as they celebrate their anniversaries and throughout, whether it be 1 year of anniversary, 5 years, 10 years, 100 years. Let's continue all of that, because every business that's in this town is completely unique and contributes to the uniqueness of what we have within the town of Mesilla. So we will continue all that great thing. Our great efforts. Next on the agenda, we have another presentation, which I'll be giving. I just wanted to give a little update on some of our social media statistics and some information here, just to kind of show where we're at and what we're doing overall. Let's see. So I did pulled some of the numbers from Facebook as well as from our website. I really wanted to show more than anything kind of what we see. So this is a 28-day average on our Facebook and social media. And just in viewing the analytics from what you see here, our Facebook page received a little over 403,000 views. And then we gained some followers that ended up following the page overall. And then a little over or close to 7,000 people fully interacted with the page itself. So what we look at in specific is at the views kind of breakdown, we see the total of 403,000. 3-second views is 38,000. So they stayed on the page for at least 3 seconds before flipping off to another one. Because you know how people, they do the scrolling thing, right? So it's one of those things, but at least they stopped and took a look at it, and then they kept going, right? So something caught their attention that brought them back to at least look at it and read the caption and then move on. So we did have 1.7 thousand 1-minute views in total. When we look at the overall and the views breakdown, we have we notice that majority of the people that are looking at it are looking at the photos that are being presented or multi-photos. Sometimes the reels that what we see in there, but they're pretty much non-followers that are just catching this that's popping up by keywords that go onto their page. So that's what we see on that side. And the views breakdown following through, we see that of the followers and non-followers, that 34% are people that are actually following the page, 66% that kind of randomly come upon the page based upon all of that information. One of the things that because I love numbers and the analytics behind all of this is that we see all of our events more than anything which we know are big draws for our community, have the biggest views of what's going on. So we have our summer music series that's coming up, a little over 80,000 views on that, and which is a great content that's being posted there. A lot of this, think about it in the sense, so just the same as our Cinco de Mayo weekend with over 52,000. What happens with a lot of these is that we get the interactions of people, and that's kind of what draws it. That's the great thing about social media is, people will go in and they'll like something and then they could share it, or, they'll stop and look at it, and, maybe it's Flat Black or Jamie O'Hara from here, and they're liking, sharing, and saying, hey, come on and join us, because we have a lot of great things going on. So the more interactions that we get by the community or those people that are part of these events, or just have some sort of relationship with whatever is going on within the photo itself or the video or the photo collage, it just helps strengthen those views and pages of what we see, which is kind of truly unique in that. So on this other page, these are just some of the posts that were over the past couple of weeks where we've seen some of these events going on throughout and posting. So you can see where our last post here, Wine Lovers, that was posted yesterday. And then Shopping in Mesilla was posted earlier in the week to visit our farmers market. Unfortunately, our BOT meeting and P&Zs don't get very many views on here. 24. I guess so. We need to create something a little more exciting to get people engaged. But it's a good thing that we have that at any rate. You know that some is better than none is always a good thing. But you can also see how we did a live shoot of the university widening when DOT was doing their presentation this last week. So we had 567 views throughout. Now, whether that's individuals, probably not very likely, but it is the number of times people have gone in and viewed or saw that video as that live video was playing. So just the uniqueness of all of that. And social media is powerful. You know, we can see how, you know, that when we share things, you know, the number of people that view it, the number of people that share it, and it gets out there. And it's a matter of an instantaneous view. And that's what I think I wanted to point out here on this one in specific. This was a post from a meeting that we did a couple of weeks ago to have a little discussion about the park infrastructure as well as the addition to the town hall. While we announced it in the meetings and we had it posted at some of the posting locations, it wasn't posted online. So it didn't get that outreach like it should have when it could have. But I do want to put out that, you know, as soon as I recognized that it wasn't posted online, I got with the team and we got it posted online. And in that little bit of time, we had over 28,000 views for this post in particular. So it's the power of social media at the end of the day when we can get that information out there to people, and it does help no matter what that time frame is. 20. Yeah, sorry. 20. Did I say 28,000? 20. I haven't been seeing numbers all day. So yeah, sorry, 2,800 on there. But you can see where there were 13 likes on 13 likes on that post, 4 shares, and it's these shares, I guarantee you, that helps with this, because that just extends that reach out even more to everybody. So then this is just Facebook analytics. So it's good information, and I just want to share that, you know. So and we'll do more and more of this, because we do have the partnerships that we're doing with the state, where they're helping out with some of these posts that are being put out there, and so we can see how well these are working for us, and if we're actually getting the draw from these posts that we're putting out there, and what kind of drives that.
That's why I asked you if you can put the parade on there now, so that way we can draw more people.
And get more people signed up.
Get more people signed up now.
Definitely.
Than waiting a week before it. You know, like especially that the live music one. You put it out 2 weeks before it started, and look how many views. It's only going to go higher.
Continually.
Because you're giving them.
Well, we're going to like and share and get it out there even more, and
giving them more information before they can plan ahead instead of planning the same week.
And Dorothy's working on that, so that's another great thing. So yes, he says will be great. So the website itself, just driving down on website analytics, you know, so we have just some of these things. So this is 13,000 viewers. This was over the last 7 days. Sorry, what we're looking at. So new users that had never visited the website, and the average time that they spent on the website, which is it's good that they spend that much time there, right? And then we'll go into some of the things that they're looking at when they do see, because we can drive down on that. We can see the active number of users within the past 30 minutes, but we can change that. Kind of question these when we see some of these that are Morocco, Venezuela, Saudi Arabia. Probably people trying to hack is what we've determined, but who knows? And maybe we do have out-of-country visitors wanting to come, but at any rate, it's still good activity going on within a short period of time on that, right? So, and then the average of the audience that we see that's coming through on all of this as well. Good information. So in here, these are over this time frame of this month is the metrics of 6.4 thousand sessions, open sessions. So these are browser sessions that are being fully opened in there, and then 3.4 thousand of those are engaged sessions where they're actually working on the website, or not working on the website, but engaging with the website and looking and driving down on different components within it. So a 54% engagement rate, which is fantastic for a website itself. What we see in overview here month over month, more and more people utilizing the website. We see the big pump in here mainly because that's the Cinco de Mayo weekend, right? When we were doing that. So we're going to see those jumps up when people are looking and finding out more information about our events and everything that we have going on within the town. That's why the uniqueness of when we have those events, or we're able to get the word out about whatever we have going on in the town, or other businesses, for example, have going on in the town, and we can share collaboratively rather than independently, it makes it an even bigger, broader picture to get more people in. These over here are constant what are engaging people the most. So we can see the IPRAs are the number one in submitting that and reviewing that page in specific. Common for every municipality across the state. The contact us form to contact the team, sign up for the newsletter, and then so on and so forth, going down through all of the different things that we have here. This is just in the last 30 days. So here again, an overview of the top posts and pages within the site and what gets the most hits. So the home page overall, that's the Town of Mesilla page. So the main one gets the most hits. And then events from there, the Cinco de Mayo schedule, people looking for jobs, see what we have posted, right? And then, of course, going into our Mercado Farmers Market, jumping into the minutes and agendas. So what we're doing here in governance, and then what they can do to visit, contact, and other events within the town. So good information overall. But like I said, I just wanted that, and that's all I have on that. I just wanted to share that information, and we'll do more and more of that moving forward, because it's information that we share within our lodgers tax meetings and put that out there. But we want to be able to get that information out more. So I think it's viable information for the board, as well as other members of the public, businesses, to see that we are actively working hard to try to promote business and events and everything within our community that helps to support us as a whole. So any questions?
Good information.
Yeah. So we will post this slideshow on the website as well, so that's there, and it'll have a home. Next item on the agenda, staff updates and comments. So we'll start with the Marshal's Department.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. Just a few quick updates from the Marshal's Department. Despite weather conditions during the Right of Silence event, the West movie, and there were no significant issues reported, deputies maintained a visible presence throughout the event to assist with traffic, safety, and community engagement. I would also like to recognize that several of our CSI interns who recently graduated from NMSU. We're proud of their accomplishments and appreciate the time and effort they dedicated to assisting the department and the town of Mesilla. Now that the school year has ended, our SROs have moved to a modified summer schedule. They will still be assisting the department with patrol coverage and shift support when needed, while remaining available for training and summer-related school functions. For the month of April, the Mesilla Marshal's Department responded to a total of 280 calls for service. During the month, deputies continued proactive patrol efforts throughout the town of Mesilla, including 48 frequent patrols. Deputies maintained focus on traffic enforcement, plaza patrols, disturbance calls, suspicious activity complaints, and overall community policing efforts. Traffic-related activity remained high with 39 traffic stops and 12 traffic control assignments completed during the month. Deputies also handled a variety of disturbance calls, welfare checks, and domestic-related incidents, follow-up investigations, and animal control-related calls for service. Additionally, deputies from Mr. Marshall's department will be participating in the multi-agency community event, which is Fish with a Cop. It's hosted by LCPD on June 6th at Young Park in the city of Las Cruces. This will be the second year that our department has participated in the event, and we appreciate opportunities that allow law enforcement to continue positive engagement with youth and community. Lastly, I would also like to recognize the swearing in of our new Asian Codes Enforcement Officer, Pepe Ramirez. He was sworn in through Magistrate Court, and we're happy to have him officially on board assisting the town of Mesilla with animal control and code enforcement related matters. That concludes the Mesilla Marshals Department update, unless the board has any questions.
I had a question. So I attended the DOT meeting at ZIA, and some of the concerns of the residents whose homes back up into the University Avenue expressed concern about speeding on University Avenue, or the speed of vehicles, and also security. Have you seen any activity, or you take?
When we're out there for traffic control, everybody needs to slow down because we're in the middle of the road, make sure the kids cross. But now that school's out, I can definitely look into seeing, maybe doing a traffic enforcement project since we'll have our SROs more available.
Because the speed is now 30 miles an hour, so it's so,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
I know that we got a couple of emails for grants. Have we applied for those yet?
I haven't received.
You haven't received any? I'll forward them to you. I know the deadlines are coming up really soon, so I don't know why. I know Ben was on it, so I'll forward them to you on there and see. We can apply for it. I know it takes a little work. Okay. Have you received any?
I did get the email from, yes.
Yeah.
That you were in, yeah.
No. So do you want me to forward it to you, or who do I forward it to?
The three of us, so Marshall, LT, myself, and we'll make sure it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Leticia had sent that, so.
Yeah. Yeah, she forwarded a couple of them.
I know one of them wasn't applicable to our department. It would be applicable to larger departments because of the federal funding. But there might be some of the smaller ones that we could look at.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah. You know how they have the fish cop, the shop with the cop? What does Mesilla do? Can we come up with something? Like you said, LC would, Las Cruces does the fish, the county does shop, right? Or the state?
No, that's the return order police, that does the shop at the top.
Mhm.
So it's multi-agency, so LCPD includes us, we don't have a lake. I mean, that would be something we could get to, it's not an event we could do, but LCPD includes even federal agencies, FBI's out there, DEA's out there, so it's a good multi-agency event, and we promote, when we go, we promote the internship program, which also helps us out.
Yeah. Maybe we can come up with something.
And Sergeant, you and I have had conversations about that before, so we can definitely continue down that and see what we can support through the department. Trustees, any other questions for Marshall's department?
Nope.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank
Appreciate
you for
it.
that great report.
Yes. Fire Chief.
You beat me to my concern.
I think we're kind of small to be doing that one person. I can't afford to have him out again.
Lots of fun things to talk about this last few weeks at Riding Hood. So we just had a firefighter graduate from the state fire academies, under the certified firefighter. It's pretty exciting. We are still starting our new fire academy for volunteers because we're going to need it. I've got 3 of our current volunteers that hired that month, so they're going to be gone for 6 months. And usually they don't stay. It's a job.
Yeah.
So we're going to need to replace them. We had the last 2 days, we had overlapping calls in Mesilla, which has been pretty rare for us. Meaning we had more than one call happening at the same time. And the auto agents working perfectly, they knew we were responding, and they didn't even page Mesilla the second call. They paged South Valley University, depending on who it was, whoever needed help, back up right away. So that's the
Great.
household.
Right.
Had 2 water days in the last couple of weeks. We had the annual one at Mesilla Elementary School, which is always a lot of fun. A video of Andy and Brady swan diving. It's awesome. And we also did one at Mesilla. That was the first time they left. So that one was a lot of fun. Also, we did older kids, so they're kind of like standing back and have fun. And then eventually they started having fun. So that was pretty good. The let's see, there was something. Okay. I have a few of these. So I went and bought them myself. Can't use fire ones yet, but we bought good ones. I've got a few. We have flyers out at the post office, community center, and at the fire station. I left them here. So I'll bring it tomorrow. The Mesilla Park base hardware is going to offer us a few more for free. They only carry 2, so they had to order more. They're coming in. I ordered 10. And they're going to give us some more for free to help us out with the project. I don't anticipate a lot of people needing them right off the bat. I do have 2 requests right now, so the 2 I have are going to end up on somebody's ceiling somewhere along the way, along with there's an application basically to get it. We don't want people from outside of town coming in and getting them. I don't want people putting them on businesses. You have a business, take care of your business, right? It shouldn't be a free smoke detector on your business. So say I don't have one, I can't afford one, I live in the town, so I own a house, and I will sign up for community connect. We'll get all that stuff looked into one little thing, and get a lot more people. My secretary, assistant over there is making sure I check everything off.
You mean your boss?
Yeah, my
Boss. I think you,
It's been a good couple of weeks. You saw the monthly report. Fall's been pretty busy this last month. They dropped down a little bit, and that's because Station 12, the Fair Acres, is temporarily assigned to South Valley. Station 13, while they connect the utilities to the station, they just remote. So the area that we normally have been picking up as a second response is now been covered by a county department. That's the one that once they move back up there, they want us to fill in the people. So right now we're at 105 or 8 or something. So we might get 110, 115. That's still a third of what we were doing 8 years ago. So it's still a lot. Stanford, questions? Yes, sir.
I had a question on those device units that you showed us. Are they battery operated or hardwired?
Sorry, I should have done them both. These are combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. These are battery operated, but they are 10-year battery. I don't want to be going back every 6 months with a nickel battery, putting somebody's things beeping at me. So when these start beeping, you should replace it.
So the whole thing is replaced.
The whole thing.
Okay.
This is the new standard. You see some battery operated ones around, but they're going away.
All right.
Because of the problem that we
Well-
must replace the battery. The other thing that's cool about these is once they're mounted, they're activated. So if you're like, well, I don't like where it is, or I keep setting it off every time I make a quesadilla, you take it down, it goes off. And it will go off until the battery dies or you break it apart with a hammer. So that's kind of cool about it too. So we're gonna make sure we don't put up like a radio stove or whatever. This is, we're only gonna be supplying one. You're supposed to have one in every bedroom, one outside the hallway, one in the living room, one in the garage, one for the dog. I mean, it gets, that I can't, these are $44 each, right? So they're pretty standard. But, yeah, they're pretty cool.
Okay.
And so we won't have to worry about 9-volt batteries.
That's good. Thanks. And the other question I had was on the Mesilla Community Connect. How is that going? Is it? Is-
I apologize if anybody, if I didn't get to it right away, because I thought it was going to send us a notification, but apparently there was a step in there to say send notifications to these people. So I went in today and like smoke detectors, oh, there's a couple there. Give them a call and see how that.
Do you ever connect, I guess, relating to this community connect with the senior meals program with individuals?
We're dealing enough with just the regular
Okay.
contacts that we have with people that need to. It's like a constant thing going back over and over again. Like, hey, you need to be in this. Some people are like, I don't want to do it right now. I'm like, okay, we're here, card, or here's the QR code. And later, call me back on the phone. That's people, family members are starting to need more help, and they're the ones who really this is designed for.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yes, sir.
With the smoke detectors, can you give them their red tags for their, I know that was a huge thing for you. The address, you said you had a big old box of the red addresses. Yeah, that would probably be a good time to give them their,
We've already done a couple houses with the numbers. The problem is that some of the places are hard to see, even with those reflective numbers. But we had a couple that we, dad called, we couldn't find the address. And so, Chief Emery went back to the numbers.
oh, but I'm saying when they get their smoke detector, you can't have them with the numbers, yeah.
All we really need are ones and twos apparently. There's a lot of those.
Okay. All right, that's it.
Any other questions?
Thank you for covering all those.
Thank you,
people.
Chief. Public Works, Mr. Storga.
Mayor, Board of Trustee, good evening, public. So I also have just a few deals on my project updates here. I have one, we did a partnership with the Garden Club last week or so, the last week or so.
It's 2 weeks ago now.
I'm catching up still on from my days that I've been gone, but yeah, within the last week or so, we had a partnership with him where we planted some red, white, and blue with plants there that are
Flowers.
The flowering.
flowers, whatever you want to call them. That went in there and went in there beautifully. Also, did plant some vegetation in front of the big sign, the Mesilla walk-up sign
Oh,
there.
I saw that. That's pretty.
We got some
Yeah.
cactus, some desert scaping, that we put in there. Also at the high-rise planter, also we beautified that also too with a bunch of plants on there. So that was a Veterans Park project there we went on. The sign over here at Commemorative Park is 100% complete. That one's already all got stuccoed up, all lit up, and good to go. The rehab on water well number 1 was started while I was gone and completed while I was gone. So that's all been completed, tested, and now back up in line. So we have both our wells available to us now. So a little bit of a less worry for us on the having to just have one water well running constantly. That's a little pressure off of there. The public safety building is coming along also too. The beams are in the back or in the south part or in the north part of the building, and that's going up. So that's, I'm gonna say about 60% complete. They just need to come in, do some little work, and we'll see how that comes out. I started our annual drinking water report, so was been at that a couple of days, trying to get that into the state so that way we can have that ready available for the public here within the next month or so. So that way they know our annual drinking water. And as soon as we start getting more word on our bigger projects that we have been putting in for, we will go ahead and get more updates on that, like Paisano, Oeste, and other ones that we have put in for this. And for that, I'll stand for any questions.
I have a comment, not a question, but I was noticing Los Arenales, Los Leones Park, and it looks very nice. I mean, it's very green and very well maintained. And I like the added chickens that roam around the park. So
There's quite a bit of them that roam around.
yes, I mean, but it adds a little bit to the park. But thanks for the work on the parks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Just
Thank
one
you.
more
Yeah.
thing, thank you guys for the proclamation, the team, of course, as the trustee Nalani says, they put their heart out there, to do what we do for the community. Thank you
It's
again.
nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Grandpa. Right? Mr. Salazar.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. Eddie Salazar with the Community Economic Development. I'm just going to recap what the monthly report that you all have already. Obviously, right now, the hot topic is Preservation Week. Right now, we are in the middle of it. We just commenced it, actually. And it's a lot of work. I like to give Diana a lot of props. She's really out there. She's networking. She's getting with partnership with nearby municipalities and such, and she seems to enjoy it, which is more important, right? Whenever you enjoy something, you seem to be able to do it more thoroughly and more passionate about that. She asked me to thank all of everyone that showed up to the meetings. I know a lot of times, having these throughout the day, these kinds of presentations and such, a lot of people can't make it, but we understand that. But anybody that does support, obviously it's very, very much so appreciated. We just, as soon as we get this week under our belt, our next goal is going to be for nominating 3 other properties in Mesilla for a local registry. We got quite a bit of properties out there, and I think nominating only 3 and at this rate, it's going to take us quite a bit of long time. So we're really going to sit down and look at how to approach some of these properties to be able to get them out of registry a little bit better or faster. I know a lot of them are already in the historic zone. Maybe some of those will be much faster to get in there. The ones that are not so much controversial, I guess, as far as they're solid historic structures, significant structures might be the best ones. Maybe we'll go that route. Which ones have more significance towards to our community or to the town? But either way, we are going to be looking at that. If anybody, anyone on the board or the public or co-workers have any nominations, we're still taking nominations on any properties do you feel that you want us to look at and protect and preserve, right? The next thing is with that is our preservation times. We're already going on our 3rd edition. It's exciting. I really enjoy reading it. I think Yana's got a very good writing skills, a very good. I want to focus also on our agricultural properties in Mesilla as well. So we'll start this next upcoming edition. I did a little bit of research when it came to one of the cases not long ago regarding the acequias, and it started it kind of leads you into this rabbit hole, right, where it ended up over and they look at you and how it all came about and put together. So I kind of like to put maybe something like that together for our next edition. How was the Elephant View started? How did it happen? So I think that's moving forward with our agricultural properties and our sectors and all that stuff. I think starting there at that start point, and kind of going in our timeline, working our way down in this direction, I think it'll be a good choice for all of us to read. So again, excited about our 3rd edition, putting our 3rd edition together. Our GIS software, I have the Jacob up front. He is helping me with that. He's helping me putting together the GIS. I haven't myself, be honest with you, paying much attention to it right now, but he is working on it and he is making improvements. So we are moving forward as fast as we would like, but we are doing that. GIS is important because it's a tool, very important tool for the community and the public, to be able to log on to the system to, and click on. So it's a wealth of information when it comes to fire hydrants or manholes or water lines, historic buildings, all that stuff will be included. That so again, that's it's an important tool, but we'll move forward when that's as quickly as we would like. iWorks, Explorer 9 are two software we're waiting on still. Waiting for where those are a little bit more critical, in my opinion. That requires a little bit more extra effort to get records out, research those kinds of records. You know, communication between codes and permit or community development. You know, there's that bridge that, you know, we've always, in the past, we've struggled with communicating. They don't know what kind of permits are out there, you know, so again, it's still getting done. It's just, it's taking a little bit extra effort because those softwares are not there. But we are excited that they're in the plans, and that hopefully soon we can get moving on that. Nuisance ordinance, our attorneys are looking at. I spoke with the mayor. It's regarding the hearing examiner. Hopefully we can move. Our codes department is already getting their handful and their list. We got quite a few cases that we hopefully can resolve. Most of anything, but we are ready to move forward on some of them. If we cannot get the violation to be abated or so. With code enforcement, you know, again, he is a new officer. He's young and he's asking a lot of questions, which is good. I'm still doing ride-alongs every now and then with him when I get a chance. He stops by my office often, and we talk a lot about scenarios, which are important, and some of the cases that he has already opened. You know, he is new. They're a little bit prolonging some of these cases where, in my opinion, my expectations are not to, you know, get them taken care of, right? Get taken care of. Obviously, with consideration to doing it right, we give people the opportunity and the time, but still, getting the case taken care of, because just as much as the person that needs to abate the violation, the person that, which is the reporting party that called it in, has to deal with, you know, any nuisances that might be on that property. So we have to take those people into consideration as well. Last meeting we had with the PZAC, we started a review of some of our ordinances that we have regarding consistencies, and also about better detailed interpretation, all those things that we might that already have come up. For example, RVs, you know, parks that are. Is that my hand up? For example, RVs, you know, our code says that, you know, they're not living quarters, we can live them, and no permanent structures or permanent utilities can be hooked up to it. But what's permanent? You know, it's extension cord. Somebody can be living in an RV in an extension cord or water hose for a long time, right? So again, we're just reviewing those kinds of ordinances to make sure that they are consistent and they're better interpreted. We are already, Trustee Garcia mentioned the parade. I think that's a real good, I think that's pretty cool. I've never been to an event like that, but I think I'm excited about how that's gonna turn out. And also the city September, we're already working on putting together some ideas and stuff. So, Mayor, it's a very good, I look at those numbers as well. It's not so much for how we're doing now, it's a comparison to how we're doing now and compared with last year or the year after, or maybe there's something new that we presented that motivated more people to view more. So it kind of gives an idea, a direction of, oh, that didn't work, or that this worked. We not, you know, maybe we can drop doing this because that's not as important as this. So again, those are very good numbers to look at. We are continuing the update, you know, our website. I still got a lot of work to do on it. You know, it's just when you fix one thing, and then you know, 3 other things happen, and you know you got to fix. So you know, a lot of the emails I like to get into where when they do the notification for businesses, so people can sign up and get an electronic notification instead of paper trail, kind of like a lot of these utility businesses do. You opt, you know, instead of getting paper, you can get electronically. So you know that it will save us that just time, but also
postage and the paper itself. Short-term rentals, I did give you all some numbers, they're all there. They're pretty consistent, well, pretty equal to last month, or last year, sorry, apologize. I did have some HTRs that were not registered yet or renewed. I had nine of them. I contacted all of them. I got just about 3 left. Out of these numbers, 3 of them, 3 accounts I terminated. So, you can drop down 3 numbers from the commercial, for the historic residential zone. Our last business amendment we did, you have the 90 days. After 90 days, if you do not renew your business account, you go, and you would have to renew and start over again and get approved. I'm making the effort. I'm calling them this time. Not just calling them because the 90 days are coming up soon, and I want to make sure that I contact them and this hasn't been any issues with, mailing or maybe approved or such. So I personally want to call them to remind them. Most of them have been very cooperative back to that I called. But either way, these are our numbers for short-term rental in this past year. I'll stand by for any questions.
Eddie, I just want to say on for talking about the Airbnbs that you jumped on it, we all jumped on it fairly quick to figure out that side, even before the city of Las Cruces, and now the city of Las Cruces is trying to make the same. A few quarterly to add into that lodgers tax fund where that so. For a turn, we're the role model for the larger municipality, which is the way that it should be. So
Yeah, there's not very many statute regulated short-term rentals. A lot of it, I would the same way. They're very hard to get a hold of. They're very difficult to get a hold of. And we got a hold of somebody and we just hang on to them, and then obviously from there you can make other contacts. But they haven't contacted me. Everything for them. So yeah, it is nice to hear us contacting us for some questions that.
Yeah. It's been so important to keep those up because our initial concern that short-term rentals might, skyrocket or whatever. And that has not been the case. And it sounds like the ordinance, the way it's written, is working. And you extending out a phone call to them, I think, is really not just the right thing to do, but it tells them that we are serious and that we are and we do care. Yeah. So that's excellent. No.
So the last thing I want to do is cause anybody any harm.
Right.
I just want to make sure that my person maybe it's something I can do for them.
Yes. Excellent.
I have a question on the code. So anybody are all our codes regulations going to magistrate too as well, or how does that work?
Well, right now, my understanding is the magistrate court can't put the whole book of our Mesilla code into the system. It just takes too long, and because it's going to be short term, I imagine they don't want to invest the time and do all that. So if there is a code violation, then they need to have either a pre-notice, like what section, like nuisance, give them the nuisance. Every time you give a citation, you got to reference it, right?
Right.
So they can't put it in their system, so-and-so got a violation for weeks if it's not in the system already, because they have to put it in. So my understanding is they got to get those kinds of codes so they can have it pre-inputted. So whenever they receive citations, it's already in the system. Or we can cite and reference the code itself, and maybe attach a copy of the reference. That's what I'm thinking. And then once they get it, maybe they'll put it at the same time as I don't. The marshal's the one, and maybe we're the ones in it. I don't know what exactly, but that's just my understanding.
yeah, and so what's happening is the marshal has gone through the along with his team the codes and referenced the main ones that we have typically in the past issued citations for through codes, And those have been the ones that we have submitted to the magistrate court to say, these are the ones that you need to upload specifically into your system, because they have to upload all the code into their system in order. And I've done a few and sent them to them directly to the one of the main clerks over there just to make sure that she has input, because I know that those are going to be citations that are, if they haven't already been issued, they will be issued here in the near future. And that's just until we get the nuisance ordinance updated, as Eddie said, which I'll touch on in my comments after a while as well.
And my last one is thank you for helping me with that tree in Mesilla Park. I did inform the resident that you were going to follow up with this week regarding what's going to happen to that tree and everything on there. And she was really appreciative that we got her called back on there and stuff. And I let the mayor know as well too about it. So it's standing there. You could just hold it down. Thank you for that.
Thank you, sir. Miss Maya, Finance.
Working on finishing up the year with a clean slate and working on starting the new year. So that's what we're working on, and on the budget. Thank you.
Numbers. Any questions for Finance?
Not yet.
All right. We'll move forward. Public input on the cases, on cases. So this is the opportunity for the public to give input on the cases that are being heard this evening. If you would step to the podium and state your name for the record, if there's any public input. Okay. Do you want? Nope. That is part of the new business. So go ahead, Mr. Estrada. Step to the podium and state your name for the record, please.
So my concern with the university project has been for numerous times, but what I'm bringing forward now is outside of our safety, outside of our privacy, that has been kind of taken away with this living project, is section 106, the historic preservation. So I've been in contact with federal counsel in Washington, Virginia, who informed that when this project got kicked off, taken care of, there should have been a federal undertaker that was consulted to have taken a look at the plans, taken a look at the walkway, taken a look at everything, trying down the ditch, et cetera, because as we all know, the sequias, as we call them, are protected. They are on Mesilla Park Historic Preservation. So how all of this has gone unnoticed and unquestioned, I don't understand, but no use facing backwards. It's what are we going to do? So I have addressed Mayor Hernandez. I brought it to his attention as well as Trustee Garcia, because I mean, out of everybody here, she's like the only one that has supported us in the chaos that has gone on and everything that we have faced. So I brought everything forward in regards to that. So my question now is, what are we going to do moving forward in regards to the privacy for the residents, the safety that has been voiced? We showed up at the Zia meeting with the FDOT, only to be laughed at, only to be said they're preempted, they're excused from everything. So my question is, what are we doing moving forward to make sure that everything is abiding with the Thomas ordinance, 6, which is federal law. Federal law is always going to supersede state law. Should we choose not to abide with that, town can risk losing federal funding as a penalty for up to 6 years. So where do we stand with that? What is the outlook with it? What are we going to do for the privacy of our residents that have now had trash, have had to be, are facing people looking into their backyards? We have had increase of traffic that does not reside in our area. Now I get it. I was told by the marshals like they can't tell people not to come in, they can't tell them that they have to keep going. However, it's obvious that what's coming to us is not in the best interest of the children that are out there, residents that live there, elderly that are out there, school that we have there. So my question is, what is the solution now? And these are all concerns that have been voiced on the agenda. So I'm hoping we can get to solutions.
Thank you, Ms. Estrada. Other public comment?
I'm Virginia Martin, and I'm speaking also on the university project. And everything that Louise shared, I agree with. I wanted to know, I didn't do this on purpose, but I biked over there and wanted to say that bike path is safer. I've many times looked behind me and, pedaled like mad, hoping the cars don't catch up with me. And yet, putting in that path, there are a lot of things done not correctly. It doesn't negate the fact that we're talking about Historic Preservation Week. And now I walk down my street and I see a light that looks like it belongs on the freeway. We have owls, we have wildlife in our neighborhood. And I would like to see something move. Makes it feel like it is Mesilla. It's a neighborhood that I drive through after going through the gas, getting on Highway 60, and just a sidewalk. So we need to do the federal law, and we need to do something to fix the neighborhood back to where it was with the improvement, but to take away the things that kind of ruined our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I was going to speak in support of the residents of Museum Park. I haven't driven down to the university for a while since I've been there, but I did about a week ago. And if you've driven it at night, the lights along there are horrendous. They counted today. There's 8 lights along the north side. This is just in Mesilla, not the Las Cruces. And then there's 1 light on the south side. But if you contrast that with driving down Union, which is darker and more rural, and so I was not able to go to the meeting last Monday. My daughter had a function for school. But I support whatever you can do to make those lights fit architecturally. I know they're already there, but make them more consistent with what we have along Highway 28. Shielding, the intensity of the lights, because it just doesn't feel like Lucia. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ritter. Other public comment?
There was one more person that needed to be here, but was unable to attend because their child was sick. So would I be able to submit on his behalf?
You sure can.
So back in 2025, there was a petition that began regarding the concerns that was going on with the university project. According to NMDOT, they stated that they don't have, no, I take that back, that they chose not to do anything with the petition that was submitted. So I would like to hand over the petition, and if it could please be added to your meeting minutes.
Ms. Floria, can you have that added to the record, please? Thank you, Ms. Estrada. Any other public comment?
Hello, Mayor, trustees, Quinn Snow, in support of the whole university project that is going on. When it first started, it was like, this is gonna be incredible, something neat that's gonna happen, we can improve everything going on. And as it has now been brought to everyone's attention here multiple times, the street lights affecting everything, wildlife, whatever it might be. My understanding is the street lights are supposed to be a certain height. That it's less than 19 feet, less than 20 feet. These things are like 40 feet long. What are we gonna do about that? And I've heard, we're gonna dim them down. No, they need to be lower. They need to be what they're supposed to be. How did it get that far? What happened? There's plans laid out. I've heard that there was a set of plans put out before and it was changed. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but it's wrong. These people are affected by it. There's rodents, there's all kinds of stuff that are now in people's houses because of everything that's been taken down. Everyone's affected by it. What's going to happen? It's very frustrating. We deal with things like, things like the trees and stuff like that. Okay, we gotta take care of that stuff. But this is major to all of the citizens that are living along the street. They're affected by it daily, nightly. I live very close to it. The light shines right down our street. It's not. One. Quick.
Thank you very much for your comments. Other public comments? Okay. Moving on to our next agenda item, item number 8A for approval under old business, Doniana All Hazard Emergency Operation Plan.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. And I'll open it up for discussion on this one. This was the one that was presented by Miss Amanda Bowen at our last meeting, and it was included in your packet. She had, I do want to note that she had noted that all the governing body needed to sign off on it, but it's only myself on there. But it's still good that we, regardless, for any document that we sign, that it's brought forward as a full to the governing body. Are there questions on that? I know Ms. Bowen's not here to answer questions, but it was as she presented it.
Questions?
See no questions. With the motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, seconded by trustee Garcia. Gloria, if we can roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much for approval of our Doniana All Hazard Emergency Operation Plan. Next item under old business 8B for discussion before approval is the preliminary 2026-27 budget as it has been amended. And that was in your packet, the main sheet. All of the items that are in yellow, in the yellow cells are your the ones that were changed. And then Gloria made the notes on the bottom of what we did change. So we did add in a total of $25,000 for fire department stipends, added into the general fund under other expenses, almost 15,000 in the water fund for overtime. Then we added 1950 to on-call pay for underwater, for on-call specifically, 12,000 under solid waste for overtime, and then another 1950 under solid waste for on-call pay on salaries. And then the Marshals Department has 60,000 added in on overtime. And then the one thing that we didn't have in here, we noticed as we were going through the capital projects that we had one project that was funded that we did not have listed in there. So that was updated on that. And then there was an expense under the wastewater that was off with the increase that we had last year and the planning on that. So those were all adjusted in there. With the overtime, as it was brought forward and looked at, well, let's actually go back on call as it was looked forward and asked about. There's several different ways that other municipalities take care of that, whether it be with a stipend or with a different pay rate, so on and so forth. And speaking with Lorenzo and driving down on that, the stipend makes the most sense to support the team in that. It is the stipend total was $75 a week that would be added to that and for everybody that is on call. So it'd be added in there. So that's where you see the $19.50 for half of the staff underwater and then $19.50 under half of the staff for solid waste, because that's where we have those specifically.
Mayor, where did that $75 figure come from?
It was an average of what's already being paid in other municipalities.
Okay.
So was Las Cruces was one, wasn't it? But they're higher. And
So we're consistent with what they're paying.
Yes, well,
Okay.
and some of the larger municipalities pay in upwards of $200-300 a week.
That's why.
But there's not the availability as of that right now. It's something that we can look at in the future if we wanted to, but that within our defined budget, this is kind of where what worked out well with numbers.
So they're gonna get the $75 a week if they get called out or not called out regardless, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then if they get called out outside of the normal hours, then they receive overtime for that time that they work.
How is that paid for on overtime for them?
What do you mean?
So if they work on a holiday, how does that work? How does,
Time and a half. If they come on a holiday, it's 10 and a half. It's not considered part of the work week. It's a holiday. They get time straight off.
okay, so if they work holidays, they get 8 hours, right, of pay? If it's a holiday pay? If it's a holiday pay, they get paid 8 hours, correct?
Correct.
So if they get called out for 4 hours, that's time and a half for them?
For the 4 hours.
Right. They get the 0.5 hour for that
Okay.
4 hours that they worked
So if they're making 10, they should be making 15 then?
for 4 hours.
Yeah,
of
15,
that
and then the other 4,
is still their base rate.
oh, okay. All right.
That makes sense. And that's also why we increased the water overtime as well, and solid waste, so that we had the extra coverage on that side, because we have seen an increase on calls on that.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the numbers overall, so the revenue line didn't change. The DFA FY27 revenues still almost 7.5 million. And that, it changed slightly, but it didn't change dramatically. And then the expenditures is for the expenses in that is 7.245. So we're just slightly under projected in our expenditures from revenue and expenses. But we know that with projects coming in and our matches that we will have for some of the grants that we're applying for, that's we will be doing some bars in particular to cover some of those grant matches if they do get awarded, which one of them did get awarded last week. So I'll explain that in our or two of them, I'm sorry, got awarded last week. I'll explain that in my deal at the end of the meeting. Any questions, trustees?
Just a comment, Mayor. I guess all these years when I'd always ask if Public Works is getting paid for being on call. And the answer I always got was yes. I guess I used the wrong terminology and the wrong verbiage. I should have asked if they're getting paid extra for being on call. So my apologies to Lorenzo's team and all the Public Works department that came beforehand. So I take full responsibility in not framing that correctly. So I'm glad to see we're getting it fixed.
And it's not just you, Mayor Pro Tem, it's all of us that we slid it through, not just yourself. We all slipped through that on the cracks. So we all do owe them an apology for it. And, we are sorry for it, but all of us made that mistake, not just yourself.
Right. And I think on that, Mayor Pro Tem and trustee, that, with us continually looking at the budget and always going through the numbers, we're finding more and more all the time, which is, it's not a bad thing. It's just we're actually driving down on what's important for the town and taking care of what needs to be taken care of. And it's a good thing overall when we're able to do that and have that benefit. Any other questions or comments?
On the overtime for the marshal's department, is that additional 60 or is that just 60 only?
60 only.
Okay.
Because that one wasn't added in when we were going through overall. That was not in there, and that's the overtime numbers for Public Works as well are in addition to what was existing overtime, total overtime, right? There we go. Total overtime, not the other way. Not what was it existing.
Is it safe to say though, if he runs short on overtime or if he's running close, to come to the board and see if,
Oh, most definitely.
did you hear that, Mr. Lawrence?
And that's what I encourage all of the team to do. Especially as we near the end of the year and we're going through, or if we look at it mid-year and we're at, a little over 50% of our used budget, that's when we need to be proactive in thinking about what we need to flip-flop, how we need to make those adjustments, where we can, if there's a way that we can cut down on certain expenses in order to ensure that the team is getting paid. Because at the end of the day, the team needs to be taken care of no matter what. So
I would hate to send people home if he's running out of time on his overtime and he's sending people home when there's so much work out there, or they're in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and they're sending them home the next day or the following week, you want to be able to let them keep going.
Yep, we want to make sure we have all of that covered one way or the other.
Thank you.
So if there aren't any further questions, we'll move on to our next item under old business 8C, approval of the preliminary 2026 budget as it's been amended with the stipends, overtime allocations, on-call allocations, and the other items that were noted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. I will open it up for further discussion, if any. Seeing as there is none, Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Nevares,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Thank you very much for approval of the preliminary 2026-27 budgets as it has been amended. That'll help us because everything's due at the end of the week. So Gloria's already started inputting and is underway. Next item under new business, item 9A, approval for a consideration for a motion to reconsider action taken on an agenda item for number 9C from our May 11, 2026 regular meeting regarding PZHAC case 062127 2355 Avenida de Mesilla, submitted by Las Cruces Public Schools requesting a technical education center in the historic commercial zone.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Nevares, seconded by Trustee Garcia for reconsideration. There's no discussion on this. It's just a roll call vote to reconsider. So Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Trustee Nevares,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek,
No.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses and 1 no.
The motion does pass for reconsideration. So moving on to new business 9B for approval. The reconsideration of agenda item 9C from the May 11, 2026 regular meeting regarding PZHAC case 062127 2355 Avenida de Mesilla, submitted by Las Cruces Public Schools, requesting approval to construct an accessory building to the school for the purpose of career and technical education in the historic commercial zone.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena. And I will open the floor for discussion.
I guess you want me to bring it up? Okay. So I asked Mr. Eddie and the mayor to bring this back up because we were talking about the fees on this application. And I asked Eddie to pull up some fees from other governments buildings. Let's take university projects for one. They did not pull out permit fees. They never paid for theirs. Any road construction or anything that we have done here in Mesilla, there has yet to be a fee on those. This gentleman comes in here and we're giving him, Eddie comes and asks for advice and we're telling him, well, 60,000 is 60,000. It's not fair to him when other construction workers have come in through the state and we never gave them a fee on it. They never even took out permits from the town of Mesilla. Now this gentleman's going through the process, doing it the correct way, And here we are telling him he has to pay $60,000. I don't see it fair. I would like to make a condition where we don't charge him a fee and we get with Eddie and we fix this moving on forward. How do we put an example? When do we say enough is enough? Are we going to use him as an example that they have to go through that? The university project hired another outside construction company to come and do the construction. They should have came in and got a business permit, got a license, paid their fees, and they didn't. When Kyle, the street in front of the post office got done, another project, they hired a construction. They didn't come and get a business license. They didn't pay a permit fee. Nothing happened. When the park was getting redone, did they pull out permit fees? No. So how are we punishing this one person for none of us on this board has collected a fee yet from any construction company that has come in here and done work on the roads, the public schools, anything. So I'm asking the board to reconsidering the fee to $0 until we can get this worked out and fixed out and push it on forward. Because I mean, if we go back to university, they'd be owing us millions, millions of dollars, you know? And if we go to any road that any construction company has come in down here, Highway 28, yes, they are state roads, but remind you, they subcontract a contractor to come and do it into our town. They still got to obey by the laws, by our rules and everything else too. So I'm asking the board to reconsider this of not charging him the fee, but we do got to fix this ordinance somehow.
I think,
Be-
Mayor,
Before there's discussion, is that a formal motion?
Not yet.
Because the motion is for reconsideration
Okay. So I'll make
of what's been,
It's been
that's
reconsidered.
that's the motion on the floor is a reconsideration of approval.
right,
okay.
so
So-
we need to have discussion.
So with discussion, there needs to be,
A motion. Okay. So I make a motion.
It's already-
well,
To-
no,
We've already.
you already,
We already made
yeah,
it,
you
so we
have,
don't need that.
you have
Yeah,
yeah,
we're open for
Yes.
discussion already. We got a first and a second.
yeah.
Okay, Mayor, if I might, we're talking about permits for buildings, not permits for roads, whether they be state, local. This is a building permit. And it has nothing to do with, in my opinion, construction workers on the roads, in the parks. This has to do with a building permit. That's how I see it. So, thank you, Mayor.
I want to just chime in here real quick as well, because it's always good when we can find out more information and see what's going on with other municipalities. I did reach out to the municipal league for guidance on this to see what their thought was and what practice has been done in the past. They put me in touch with the city manager as well as the director of development for another municipality in the state. And so they said that in short, for this municipality, in broad strokes, the city impact fee ordinance provides an exemption for public schools, other public entities, and institutions would be subject to impact fees, not without any protest. Most public projects will fall under permitting review of CID. So there are no city fees for building plan review, permitting, and inspections for vertical construction of building and applicable trades. The main quote unquote subject to debate area is horizontal construction as well as on-site and off-site infrastructure. So CID does not specifically cover the plan review and inspection of things like the tie-in to the city's water utility, driveways, parking lots, stormwater drainage. So that's where the city does charge those fees to make that happen. Commonly, other public entities and institutions look for the city to construct the off-site infrastructure that would typically be the responsibility of a private developer and development.
That makes sense.
So,
That makes sense. That I can see that. But then again, like trustee Garcia said, it's our ordinance that also needs to be changed and to maybe, mirror what you just read.
Mhm.
Yeah, because even when San Andres got bigger, when they extended that one, there was no permits on that one either. There was no charge on it. And that's a building. And when they extended it bigger, when they extended it towards Bouts,
I don't recall that.
that's what I'm saying. When do we say, you know, when do we put a cap on it? When do we say we need to fix it?
So that's let me see if I understand that advice is, yes, public schools are included in the umbrella for government or public service, but they're saying this building will need have all the water structure, infrastructure, the drainage, all that considered in that. So are they saying in this that is needing to be done and permitted? That's what I heard there, that there's a section of that is not permitted, needing permits. I'm not confusing the
So
The CID.
so basically any vertical building, so a building, something that's built vertically,
Mhm.
not a foundation, not a garden, whatever the case may be. If it's schools specifically are exempt, and then but not exempt from the state permitting. So they still have to get the state to take care and have the inspections completed through the state, which is what we do.
right.
We just have that extra overlay for the municipality.
And
on
we
that side.
know that we haven't been, the expansion for Rio Grande Prep,
Oh, it's your grandpa, sorry.
they haven't been paying anything, and neither did the Mesilla school when,
Correct. The only one that I can remember in the 3 years that I've been here is the state, the museum, when they came down and did some work. That was, I was just starting working here and I was just starting being with, but that's the only one. They did the project, for the museum and then the signage. We reviewed it because.
the historic
obviously
site.
we decide, but they also paid for that. Other than that, I can't remember, or after looking at the records, there isn't any, other agencies like that would be part of it.
So you looked at the history of San Andreas that trustee Garcia mentioned.
San Andreas.
Rio
Rio Grande Prep.
So you researched that to see if they had paid fees.
No, no, the other ones is that, they did some work with the, the sewer, they did just some, the restubbling, when they did
Mhm.
restubble all those,
Mm.
That it is not an easy decision. I know that's why I'm like, it's just something that I personally don't feel that, other agencies, not feel, by experience, I guess I should put it that way. Other agencies, as Amir has mentioned, do not, in spirit of collaboration and professionalism and all that, they do not, charge fees to other public agencies.
Public service.
Such as school districts. But because it's not in our ordinance, it's
Right.
not, mentioned, that's what made it difficult for me to make.
Well, and if I remember correctly from the conversation that I had with the director here, as well as the city managers, that they don't have it in ordinance. It's just
And
a known fee thing that they do. So,
And-
because she even goes on here to talk about how they have an exciting collaboration between the school district and the community college, where the school district owns the land, in which the code is exempt from impact fees, which would be those connections, and the community college is constructing the building. The situation is the community college would pay impact fees for the roads, trails, and water, sewer, safety, so on and so forth. But the land is owned by the school district, so they're waiving all of that because it's owned by the school district in specific. I think another,
One suggestion I can maybe propose, I think we're, the people that I'm leading by is kind of like at the same page, but we're having we just want to follow our ordinances, right? I think that's what, so I mean, if the board wishes, then we can always go back to the Peace Act and review that, board. Because I believe the gentleman that was here said that they don't start until June or July of the projects, and we can get it approved. If the board wants us to look at that, and which way you all want to do it, we can amend our code to reflect this upcoming project. So that, or we can approve the condition and then we go back, whichever works best.
What do you mean by sending it back to planning and zoning?
Sorry.
What do you mean by sending it back to planning and zoning?
Well, sending back the direction from the board to look at our ordinance
code.
and to reflect
Okay.
most of these municipalities to consider a school district, other agencies such as school district being exempt from the permit fees. Unless the only one that believe is the impact fees, right, so the connection fees and stuff like that, you have to pay for it. But if again, depending on, if you want the agencies such as school district to be exempt, then we can review the code, and again, those amendments and then bring it up to the board. I'm saying we still have a little bit of time to make
Yeah.
a decision, or, but again, we can.
Well, it sounds like it's standard business. It's standard business operation and has been. We just weren't aware of it because we hadn't been subjected to something that big from the schools for a while, I guess. If nobody remembers, if Rio Grande and that new school, which it's not a new school anymore, it's got to be 20 years old at least, or 30, the new elementary school. So it sounds like it's standard practice not to charge public entities, nonprofits, or public service buildings, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
whatever we want
I
to
think it's
call it.
public schools in particular, not
Public schools, not,
public school districts. Because even they said that they would, like the community college, they would have charged.
they
But
would,
because they're building on
School-
on school
Oh,
property,
okay.
they're not charging. Which I think at the end of the day, trustees, one way to look at it is that, you are the financial board for the town.
Right.
You are the decision and policy making board on that. So at the end of the day, you can approve the application as it has been, as it was. You can approve the application as it is with conditions. Conditions can be given as waiving fees, setting fees, doing as such, and then giving even more so in condition direction to the staff to get things taken care of as they would necessarily need to be within a time frame to update said ordinance. Because it's not likely that we'll have another I say that, I guess you never know, a $3 million project in front of us within the next 30 to 45 days.
mhm.
See, there's another section of the code that says that if it's not mentioned in the code itself, then it will be reviewed by the board of trustees on a case-by-case basis.
Mhm.
Because there are going to be many cases that it's expected that we don't have it in our ordinance, and that's just expected. So at what point do we delay the decision? We need to make a decision today, and then like the mayor mentioned, give direction to us, and then we'll.
Make a motion to waive the fees.
Could you
Well,
do a
it sounds like
50%?
it's standard.
Yeah, because that's
practice,
that's
and I
probably
hate-
better than
There's no reason
zero.
to, I don't
Whatever it
think, bring
would
it
be,
back
25,
just to make
50%.
an adjustment, even if we need it on zoning. Yeah, being the financial board, I think we
20%.
feel a little bit weird with all the needs we have, to say that, $60,000 is something we can do something with. You know what I mean? And being the fiscal agents of the town of Mesilla, you kind of feel like, but if that's standard practice, that's the only thing that to me, that's the only conflict, is that it's standard practice. I don't have any problem giving the public schools a $60,000 break, but I'm also think from a fiscal responsibility standpoint, I feel like $60,000 could go somewhere in the community. That would be helpful. But so
How How did you get 60,000?
In the code book itself, I believe it goes up to $1 million, 14,700. Is the scale it has,
Mhm.
and then it says for every $1,000 on top of that is $25. I don't know exact numbers, but it's in our code always, so I just did the math.
So could you have a reduced, instead of the 100%, which is 60,000, could you do 50%? Because we're having a big discussion here and how to compromise to.
I mean, it's something that I don't have, nothing that the code
No.
says that you can't, right? So it's
But it's a matter of getting some revenue out of it, the total or half of it is, or zero. I mean, if we go with one.
no matter what decisions we make, Mr. Mayor, trustee, is, remember, we're gonna set precedents, right? So if we decide to keep it, if we decide to half of it, all these agencies, the structure around, imagine what kind of pushback and what kind of relationships we're gonna lose and build with going forward from it.
But that's why, that's
Yeah,
why
I
we
don't
need an
wanna-
ordinance, but
I don't want to do halfway. I don't want to reduce it. I want to just either do the standard practice or say it's not in our code and we hadn't noticed, I guess, I mean, or we hadn't followed our code in the past or whatever. We had done the unsaid, unwritten standard practice all this time.
Well, we already put
What
standard.
the city of Las Cruces is doing, those people are doing, everybody's doing. So I think we just have to decide between those two. And then we can amend our code to reflect what we're actually doing versus what standard practice is, or describe it as standard practice for municipalities and public schools in the code, right? So that we don't get another can of worms that says public and entities, we specifically say public schools, if that's the advice from the New Mexico Municipal League, I think. But I think it's either, I just think we'd open a bigger can of worms if we start parsing it out from standard practice to specifically our code. But I don't know what everybody else feels. That's just my opinion.
I don't know. I just feel like we already set standards. We haven't collected.
And we haven't collected,
Collected.
so it has to be zero or follow the code as it's written. And see what, I mean, he didn't seem to push back that day, but that doesn't mean,
Well, that was
That-
also the architect.
that doesn't mean that when he pushes it upstream, that they won't come back with something.
And I'll say that the one of the administration has reached out to me,
Oh, has he? Okay.
and it's the administrator that I'm working on with the SRO agreement right now.
Is it the director of operations, Steve?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess one way to look at it, we could always deduct $60,000 from our SRO income.
It's not.
to,
Okay, well,
I don't.
I mean, that's a significant piece of information, that this was just the architect and it was rolling uphill. Because I know Steve, I worked with him. So anybody else?
Motion's on the floor for reconsideration, as it is. Is there any
So we would have to make a motion to
condition?
conditions, right?
If you wanted to. Otherwise, it just moves forward as it is.
I'll make the conditions to waive the fees for case number on the public schools, case number 062127, to waive the fees. Right? Yeah.
Motion on the floor for condition to waive the fees by trustee Garcia. Is there a second?
Second.
Second on the floor by trustee Cadena. Continued discussion on the condition itself.
at this point, I'd say we follow standard practice, even if it wasn't in the code. So I agree with Trustee Garcia.
Any other discussion? Gloria, if you can roll call vote the condition, please. As it's been motioned by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Mayor Morgan Johnson Burr,
No,
Trustee Nevares,
No.
Mayor de roll call. Mayor Hernandez.
Wonderful.
Just,
The fun. I will vote yes on the condition.
The roll call is 3 yeses and 2 noes.
And that brings us back to the original motion on the floor by Trustee Garcia, seconded by Trustee Cadena, with condition. Is there further discussion?
I thought that was it.
We just voted for that.
Gloria, if we can roll call vote on the original motion on the floor.
Mayor Morgan Johnson Burr,
no,
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Nevares,
No.
Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
The roll call is 3 yeses and 2 noes.
The motion to reconsider the agenda item 9C from the May 11th meeting with condition has been approved. Next item on the agenda, item 9C for discussion, Casa Peregrinos pop-up date events. And I know I gave this out on the last meeting or talked about it, but I just want to bring it up again. We will be adding them to the water bills as we move forward. But the first one coming up, they're all on Wednesdays. And at 3 p.m., the pop-ups will be happening at the community center or the Parque de Cura across from the community center. The first one is on June 17th. The one following that will be on July 15th. After that, August 19th, September 16th will be the last one. 100 meals will be given to the community for this first come, first served basis. I do have Adelante notifying and telling our residents that get meals there at the community center as well. And then, of course, it'll be on the mailers. And if you know of any residents, let's make sure that we get them out to participate in that. See how it affects our community. Any other discussion on that? Next item on the agenda for discussion, University Avenue updates. And this was asked to be on the agenda so we can touch on the meeting that we had that was last week from DOT and to answer some questions and discussion along the way. In here, DOT, just to kind of touch and, trustees, 3 of you were there, so you can also jump in to give anything that I may miss. But they gave a review and updates on lighting, on privacy, on drainage, some of the concerns that were brought up, as it was mentioned earlier. On the lighting, they did note that they were bringing down the lumens that were agreed upon and putting shields on the lighting, and they were going to be doing that. That if there were any other issues with drainage, that the residents needed to let us know on that side, specifically for that, and or let them know. And I did encourage residents to let me know, that way I can do that. There were a lot of questions about privacy, and a lot that were directed towards myself as well as DOT. We did talk about the safety on that and privacy, and we do have the ICIP project for trail enhancements. If you recall, we added that to our project listing last year so that we can go after funding for trail enhancements and go through a public process of what the public that lives along University, as well as the general public overall, would like to see as trail enhancements along University Avenue, which, as I had mentioned, can be updates in lighting, can be updates in barriers, traffic calming measures. It can be landscaping, anything that we want to look at, anything that would be considered a trail enhancement in specific is what we would be looking at. I do want to say thank you, a huge thank you to Miss Estrada, because she's been very vocal and present quite a bit. And I definitely recognize that and appreciate that more than anything, especially with the new information that's come out with the historic preservation side. So it's like kind of like when you feel like you've been beaten to a certain degree, you're not beaten. You know, there's still holes, there's still gaps, there's still questions. So we'll work together to see what these answers may be. There was questions about the petition because a petition was circulated and was given. A copy was sent to me and given to me. I did turn that over to legal, and they gave the recommendations on that. I did give a copy to and notified DOT on it. That's part of the reason why we held the public meeting not long after that petition was given, to have DOT to address these specific concerns that were brought up in that petition. Unfortunately, you have to think that the project on our side, it's in our community, which is a huge thing, and we should have a lot of say about it. But it's not our project. We're not paying for the funding through the town, and we didn't do the design as far as I'm aware. But those are still questions that we're trying to find out and find answers to, is where specific design components came from, how they came forward, so on and so forth. The lighting is just one of those. It's a big concern because it doesn't, as it's been brought up several times. It's not Mesilla. You know, it doesn't match that because they're the big gooseneck lamps out there.
What did
So-
legal say about the petition?
What's that?
What did the legal team say about the petition?
Well, like I mentioned before, that is attorney-client, but also at that, just what I can say is that, I mean, it's a DOT.
Yeah, DOT
Deal.
brushed it off at this last past meeting. He was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, so they brushed him off, and so did everybody else. You know, the poor Mesilla Park people, you know, everybody brushed him off and didn't give him the time of day. No one listened to them on there, you know, and I feel bad.
Mm.
You know, I encourage all the trustees to not just go when we're running elections, like go door to door, talk to these people. I mean, now they're out with pitchforks, man. They're not going to stop. And I know Miss Estrada is not going to, but are we going to research that code she was saying on the federal side?
We already have. All right. I've been looking at that and looking up all the information. She and I actually had a great conversation this afternoon, and I have the contact information for the person that she's been talking to, because from a municipal standpoint, for us to have that contact as well, especially from my office in particular, it might give that a little bit of an extra push to light a fire per se.
Yeah, just
So.
like I said, we need to support our residents, because remember why we got up here. It's because of the residents, not for ourselves. Because we wouldn't be up here if it wasn't for them. And they're asking us for our help. They're pleading us for help. And I get it that maybe we can't do anything because DOT's out of it, but they shouldn't be coming into our town laughing at our residents when they have concerns. That was really uncalled for from him, to be laughing at the residents with their concerns. He had no business doing that at all. That meeting was a serious meeting. I went to the one in 2025 and they had the same concerns. No answers were answered. You know, he didn't answer them. And I know he called me out on it, and I told him, and he bushed around it too. You know, so even sending a letter to a supervisor, how unprofessional he was at the meeting, you know, because he was very unprofessional with them. You know, we got to stick up for them somehow or some way and figure it out. You know, I encourage you guys to drive down there in the middle of the night. You know, you can see right through them. You know, one lady's about to lose her her insurance to her house because of the pool. $1 million insurance. She's about to lose it because now it's not meeting up to the quotes. We got a couple of residents in there that are ready to, and I've told every single one of them, the minute you say you lower it up, I cannot talk to you. Like, I can't help you anymore. That's where we stop. And I know a couple of them already lawyered up because their pools are cracked and their walls are cracked in the house and stuff like that. I was like, okay, off to the next one. Sorry, can't talk to you. So I encourage you guys, man, go out there and talk to these people, not just during election, but we need to help them. We got to get that. We need to help them. That's all I can keep saying is we need to help them. We need to push for helping them. They're part of Mesilla too. They're historical as well. They're historic, not just the heart of Mesilla, but so is Mesilla Park. And I said it the first time, we abandoned them. Now it's our turn. And look what happened when we abandoned them. Now we got a full plate. So.
And I think the other parts that came out of that meeting thank you, Trustee Garcia, that were, brought up by DOT in specific is because there was questions on, well, the project's underway. You had the lights. Why didn't you change the lights? Why didn't we get those changed out and do that at that point in time? And the answer was because it's federal money. It's already obligated. And the payment's already been made. The product's already there and it's already ordered. But there again, it's a back and forth argument at that point, right? It's like, okay, unless we approved it, right? So that's what we're trying to was approved, how it was approved, if the town was actually signing off and saying we were there, especially in this part where with the historic side and bringing that in. As I had mentioned before, Trustee Cadena and I had a good meeting a week prior, kind of answering and asking some of these questions and going through in that. We even went as far as saying, move the lights from another area of town that aren't in Mesilla to swap them out and put them over here. That way it matches. Doesn't work that way, but in theory,
Yeah,
it's just like why would it be there but not here? And why wouldn't that be into consideration for uniformity as it is in all these other areas? And so that's one of the things there. And I think that through our process of our projects from the town, what we have is working with those residents to get a community meeting going, and luckily one of them pulled all of the emails from everybody there, so we'll get all the residents together, address open concerns still, because there's still a punch that has to be completed at some point for any of the open concerns, so that we'll get a listing of every little detail and follow through with that, ensure that all of our T's are crossed, I's are dotted, so on and so forth, with everything before anything's signed off on fully on our part. If that isn't even an opportunity, because seems like every time I turn around, there's already something it's already a done deal.
Because I know
but I refuse to think that way, because at the end of the day, just as we've said here and just as we've noted, even if it comes at our own dime, we'll figure it out and we'll make it happen.
Because talking to Miss Estrada, I know when she's called Washington, the federal told her that if they're not in compliance with our town, DOT's going to have to bring them down, because they violated historical area. So they're going to have to bring it down but that's when our legal team should be going in and asking, did they comply with, the federal's rules and their regulations, did they or did they not?
Right.
And speaking with Miss Estrada again, because she's done homework inside and out, and you guys should give her number so she can text you guys at 11, 12, 1, 2. And I'm like, God, this girl go to sleep. Sorry. Her talking to Washington and doing her homework and everything on there. I mean, she's on point. I recommend you guys all to give her your number, email, whatever you need, so she can give everything on there. And it's a proven fact. They're going to have to come back and clean it up. I don't think it should be coming out of Messilla's pocket, but who signed this off? Who let, federal think that it was okay? And federal's like, whoa, it's not okay. You guys messed up. Now you guys are gonna have to go back and fix it up. And then they did tell her, it doesn't matter if they finish it in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. If they did not follow our guidelines through historical part, yeah, they're gonna have to bring them down.
Right.
But that's not gonna fix also their privacy, which they're gonna need a wall or something to protect them. But I'll be quiet now because I'll keep going off about it.
I had a follow-up question on the trail enhancements funding. Could it be used to put up a uniform wall along that area? Because really, I feel for the people that live there. I mean, it's the privacy is completely gone, the security and the safety, and they need something more immediate than trying to work for years through other means to address the issue sooner than later. So,
Right.
and I think one of the things is that their concern is the safety, security, and the privacy. Could that be taken care of through some kind of funding? The lighting, is another matter, but the privacy seems to be foremost for this. Well, at least some of it foremost for some of the people that I heard on at the ZIA meeting. So that needs to be a time frame that happens sooner than later. So.
Well, I think that's the way that everything needs to be looked at is through a lens of uniformity and creating a sound barrier or something to protect against just protection safety in general and covering that because we have to be very careful where we cross a line where we are helping one set of residents specifically with public funding versus the majority.
Yeah.
It's a fine line, but that's where through community programming, through community projects, through planning, we could come up as a community with what enhancements can be down this area to make sure that meets what it needs to be, and getting all the input from all the viable parties, including those that are not in the neighborhoods as well.
Right. Well, I think for sure we need to get the people that were directly affected, like their draining situation, rocks falling into their yard, the cracks, all that stuff. We need to get people to report that as soon as possible, because that's the stuff that's going to be covered by the NMDOT or the contractor themselves. That's what I got out of both the meetings that I attended, is finding a solution. And that's it, that if there was an immediate issue with them doing something wrong, like one lady said she was gone for 3 weeks, she comes back and her drain into her yard from EBID had been moved to the other side of the yard. Those are the things that can be addressed immediately. I think the other ones reported to the NMDOT that are problems that they did acknowledge and put out the notice. And then the lady that was gathering up all the signatures, because I'm not sure that one thing is going to fit all the needs, because I felt like I don't want to as us go in there and say you have to have a sound barrier or this fence is going to work for you, because it sounded to me like one size isn't going to fit everybody, that everybody had their own issues and everybody wanted something slightly different, which I can see, right? Because everybody's property is slightly different. So I think that's part of our approach, is that we need to be those people that are specifically affected. I also heard that we only changed the ordinance from Bowman to McDowell, and that there were some people affected past McDowell, which we can fix that easy, right? Because a fence went from 6 feet to 5 feet because of that. So I think there's at least 3 mechanisms. And then the town of Mesilla, we can do some things to try to, the lighting obviously is not going to fit, even with the shields and the lower lumens. They're going to lower the lumens by 5,000, but those aren't going to be sufficient, but they're going to help in the time that we have to figure out how to get the right lighting in there. So I mean, unfortunately, we are where we are. People did sign off on the contracts, the maintenance contracts, the plan, everything from the town of Mesilla, and they have those signatures on record. And that's part of their argument with us, is that we did sign off on it, and I'm saying we, even if some of us weren't here when it all happened. So I just think that if you guys have the initial contacts of the people that are having like drainage problems and those problems that need to be fixed before they shut it down, I mean, they stop, we need to get those names over to the mayor, to the DOT, and to the contractor to fix that. And then anything the DOT is willing to do, we need to get them to fix it, because they did agree to fix some things, and then obviously follow up on the feds and what we can do as the town of Mesilla to fix the problems. But I think we need to be careful with the one size fits all until we hear from the people that are directly affected. Because I heard each one had a different idea as to what would suit them and their yard or their household. The lady with the pool had different needs than the other people, you know what I mean? So I don't want to start fixing things that they don't want fixed, in a way that they don't want fixed. I don't want to say we're going to. So I think we got to get more input so that we're not in the same situation where we build something that's not suitable for everybody else, or we pass an ordinance that's not suited to what the need really is. So I think we need to flush it out more, and with the help of people like Beverly and this other lady and the people right along the Trina and the other people, is what I found, that there's so many, it's so complex that we need to really drill down on specifics, is what I got out of the meeting also.
And I think just for further discussion, thank you, trustee, just to kind of give it extra thought as well, is, because we can take it, one of the things that was brought up during the meeting by one of the residents is that, while we're looking for grant funding on our side to help to support this, which Trails Plus is one of those that would help with trail enhancements, that comes out 2 times a year, right back to back. Unfortunately, when we submitted the ICIP last year, we had missed that time frame for that application on that in particular, so we weren't able to submit on it. But with that in mind, we can definitely submit this year for that and have the potential of that. It does have a match on that, which we can figure out the match, and I think that even more so overarching on that, and it's something that you guys can say yes during the discussion. Let's look at what it looks like, but the lighting seems like it's one of the biggest things that needs to be addressed immediately. And with that in mind, in this process as we're moving forward, because at the end of the day, we shouldn't be footing the bill on this, but we might have to bite the bullet and do that. But I think we go through this process through the historic preservation and determine if we can hold the feet to the fire per se, and make it right. And if not, then I get a quote to replace 9 light poles, and we bring that forward to the board to pull out of the general fund to just get that taken care of for our residents.
So we're going to go first through the federal, right? We're going to see if they were in compliance.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's what I'm saying is let's go through every avenue of making it right per se before we actually utilize our own funding for it.
Yeah. And
Mayor, just because my trustees have stated the concerns, so I don't want to continue to repeat everything, but this project was several years ago, and I don't recall the amount of lights being part of the. I don't know if it was an NMDOT staff. I don't know if it was a change in our administration, our staff. But as I told Ms. Estrada, I take full accountability. I don't know how those lumens, maybe I expected the previous Public Works Director to look at all that. Regardless, it needs to be fixed. We need to ensure their safety. Those lights are, again, I'm not gonna, it's already been stated. And the other thing too, I guess I was bothered by is those were just agreements that were presented at the last meeting. They were not contracts. I still haven't seen a signed contract. And those agreements could have been amended. So I think the ball was dropped by all of us, by the state. And again, I'm just trying to be accountable if I residents, and I will do what I can, like Trustee Cadena said, and the other trustees, to make sure we fix it for them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
I have one more concern, Mayor, and this isn't about the lights or all that, because we already discussed all that. The two pondings, they're not owned by Mesilla or DOT. They're privately, that's on private land. So I'm more than sure they're leasing, or they're not leasing, or this is part of a contract that nobody has seen. So are we gonna, I'm more than sure not giving it to us for free. And I'm more than sure they didn't give it to DOT for free, both pondings, because they are in private properties. Who's going to take over that contract? Are we going to have to take it over too? Because I think I'm part of our maintenance agreement. We have to take care of it. Right. So is that also the fees as well too with that? I mean, I'm more than sure they're not doing it for free. Are you? That's a question.
So I mean, just like any typical project, I mean, it would have gone through process of gaining the easement and the right of way through whatever vetted process that is. So there's no way that they would have been able to build any of that infrastructure on there without having that already taken care of ahead of time. But our agreements that we do have for the ponding areas, because that was one specific, and it had those ponding areas were all pictured in every single one of them was pictured in that.
But is there a contract
agreement?
between?
So
is there a contract between the land use owner and NMDOT? And are we picking up? Because I'll say it again, I fairly doubt it. They're doing it for free. Because if they're going to put something on my land, yeah, there's going to be a dollar sign on it. You can't tell me there's no one in this room that's going to charge for, if you're going to use it, if there's a year for contract for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years.
that's going to be DOT's deal, because they own the road, they own the infrastructure. That's something that they would have worked out that they would maintain on that side. We may just maintain the appearance of it.
Right. But we need to also have it written down too. Again, it comes to a contract that nobody has seen, just the maintenance agreements, you know.
Oh, we did have a contract.
What's that?
I thought we did have a contract.
No, they're all maintenance agreements.
Well, I saw one contract when we went.
No, we had that was the maintenance agreement.
No, we had 3 maintenance agreements and a contract. But anyway, we can discuss it.
Okay. I don't recall the contract
Yeah.
stuff.
I don't recall. It was just 3 agreements.
Maybe we need to
I'll
HIPAA
look that up.
request a contract from them and see what that
They'll
contract
give it to us.
Yeah,
I thought we had it. When we went to the meeting, we saw it and it was signed off.
no, that was only the agreement. That
We had four. We had 3 maintenance contracts but it's okay. We'll discuss.
Okay.
I mean, let's try to find it. Let's dig in a little bit.
Well, that
further.
contract's important. We need to get it so we can see
Yeah.
what's on it.
yeah.
So yeah, if there's a 4th contract on there and you guys saw it, then we need to bring it out.
We need to get whatever. I mean, we had to have done some. Anyway, we'll find it.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just go down this road now where we're now going forward.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Trustees? Okay, moving forward on to our next agenda, item 9, E for discussion, municipal boundary legislation proposal. So what this is, this might be something new. I don't know if you all have ever gone through this before or done this. So what this is so the municipal league as a member of the board of directors and the policy and resolutions committee, what we have is if there's legislation to be proposed or potentially be proposed that for the municipal league to carry, there's a process for that, which in that process is the municipality makes a vetted deal through a resolution to bring forward the potential of that. Then it's reviewed by the board of directors and by the policy and resolutions committee as taken into consideration at that point in time. So what I have here is exactly that. So basically what we're looking at is a summary for proposed legislation to review municipal boundary legislation. So what I found, and for those of you that attended some of the work sessions when we did the work sessions on during the comprehensive plan, is that there was discussion about how we could look at possibly annexing other areas and what the potential of that is. A lot of the areas that people were talking about, and including the previous administration, was looking at the areas that are already incorporated by the city of Las Cruces. So with this in thought, in theory, is when you go and you look at state statute, there is no arm for individual business property owners, whatever the case may be, to disincorporate from an already incorporated municipality to reincorporate into another. The only way that that's possible is if there's full disincorporation of a municipality to be incorporated in fully into another incorporated area, which that isn't ever going to happen, right? So in other words, the only arm that there is either for, like, if we wanted to look at let's just say to annex or have a discussion about the potential of going to the freeway and looking at down 28 to the freeway, the only way to do that is for Mesilla to fully disincorporate and not be incorporated and then be consumed by Las Cruces, which, like I say, would never happen, or vice versa, Las Cruces to disincorporate from themselves to become a part of Mesilla, which there again would never happen. So there's no arm for disincorporation and reincorporation unless you are going through an unincorporated area. So unincorporated areas of the county can be incorporated into incorporated areas, but if we would look at the potential of adding land going south, cleaning up lines more than anything. So think about the areas out in Mesilla Park, right? Where Mesilla Park is so cookie cutter, and there's Mesilla literally on 2 roads, 3 roads going out. If you go down Ritter, and then you got Conway coming around, that's all Las Cruces. And then you got the county on the other side, it's just cookie cutter like it is here. No defined lines in that. So the proposal is not just for, and I think that's the other part to look at it, is municipal boundary legislation. It's a state proposal because I brought it up during one of the other meetings that we had with the board of directors for the municipal league. And there's about 8 other municipalities that are smaller that abut larger municipalities that don't have the opportunity. So it would be the discussion to kind of go through this process to see about changing state statute to where it could benefit the smaller municipalities that have limited growth opportunity, if you will. Does that make sense?
I read it.
It's very, and
I guess my concern is it's, where was it? In the executive summary, and I read the resolution, would establish a framework, okay, for the possible disincorporation and reincorporation of individual properties or areas into adjacent municipalities. So what you just mentioned.
Mhm.
But say, so City of Las Cruces wants to annex us. They would have to disincorporate before they annexed us.
what's that? No. Under current law,
Right.
right? No, we would have. So under current law, there is no arm for individual properties. It's all or nothing.
Okay.
So, I mean, City of Las Cruces is a city of 120,000 residents. Town of Mesilla is a town of 1,800 residents.
Okay, so, but if we wanted to annex land from them,
We cannot, period.
right,
We can only annex anything from unincorporated areas presently.
right. So this is stating incorporated, which I get, but I guess I'm uncomfortable with individual properties because if we put this into action with the municipal league, what's to say that the city of Las Cruces can't come and annex individual properties themselves?
So that would have to follow the legislative process of going like the suggestions through here, which would be one of the biggest arguments is that I would be making, and that's not in here in that, where we would have like a population threshold. So municipalities that are 20,000 people or less can incorporate up to that amount. But if you have more than 20,000 residents, you cannot incorporate the smaller. So it would have to be, so we would have to, there was policy language that would have to be discussed and fully, because this isn't to benefit at the end of the day, that the proposal is not to benefit the larger municipalities.
I'm looking to protect us.
It's to help, because I mean, look at it this way. Long story short is cleaning up. If we were able to clean up the lines here in Mesilla, and we were able to actually extend the bounds of Mesilla presently down to the freeway. I mean, people already down to the freeway already say that they're in Mesilla anyways, right? Regardless if they're in Mesilla. So that cleans up that line. It becomes clear for public safety. It comes clear for utilities on who has what, where we're at, who, and all of that. And more than anything, in clearing that up. So in Mesilla Park area, something similar, and especially right now when we look at it from a historic preservation standpoint, because we know how to preserve historic, right? So if we were able to incorporate a part of Mesilla Park that's already like the Papin Center and everything over on that side, that would be a benefit to those residents for historic integrity of their area that they live in. But then it also creates those clear defined boundaries where they know that, and our people say, because like if you drive down Conway, for example, you're driving down Conway from Bowman, and if you're going west, you're in Mesilla maintenance, because we own the road and maintenance right there until you get to the little acequia right there, the ditch, and then it literally turns into Las Cruces until you get to McDowell. And you see the sign that physically says in City of Las Cruces maintenance right there, and that's those are those areas where we create that, we have that, and it helps us as well. In this area down here, this is already kind of an established commercial zone, and that would tremendously help the town itself if we were able to grow our commercial zone, just even having a few businesses.
But the city would have to.
It would be a
Agree.
it would be a process.
I
right?
mean,
So, and
they
that,
have to
that's what,
agree.
well, that's, we would have, that's, would be defined by state statute, what that process looks like. And that's the whole, because there is nothing right now, period. So that we would be creating legislation to benefit and help, not benefit, it's to help small municipalities, and in particular, those residents that are in cookie cutter communities. So to help out with defining all of that. It just,
I don't know, just something about it, just makes me uncomfortable, but that's just my own thoughts, and see what the other trustees have to say.
and then it's just a legislation proposal. So something to give to the municipal league, because we're getting ready to go into a 60-day session. This was brought up last year, and I actually had larger municipalities that were coming forward saying that they were in support of it, but actually in support of it in the fact that they had areas that they actually wanted to get rid of and not be a part of their community, so it gives the opportunity for those landowners to disincorporate from a municipality to, I guess, from the larger municipality. It could be written however in law that if you are over that threshold, you can disincorporate, but then reincorporate into the county if you're not directly abutting a municipality. Because that's the other part too, is that it would have to be, we don't want to have, because it couldn't be like, here is Mesilla, and then this property over here that is in Las Cruces wants to be a part of Mesilla. It has to be all confined lines that create uniformity in thought and theory. There again, it's just, but it's a process. This just starts a process of saying, hey, let's open a discussion.
I'm
And
gonna have,
municipal leagues behind it, they just want to open the discussion.
I just want more information on it, more examples, and more
What kind of examples though?
like who else has gone through this, or they haven't gone through this, or what they're thinking of. Just like, I don't know.
No. That's the thing, is that this is not, nobody goes through this. This is just process. There's questions that have been asked. So like the mayor Bernalillo, for example, take for him for example. So Bernalillo is, they have city of Albuquerque on the south side of them. They have Rio Rancho that grows on the, what is that, the west side of them, and then it's all Native American land just in front of them, or to the north of them, right? So they're landlocked. The only way that they have to grow potentially is to jump the freeway and go on the other side of the freeway and towards the Sandias, which is all residential growing up in that area. And that's only the potential of that.
I like the word landlock. I'd rather landlock Mesilla and not let them come in and annex us. And I don't know. I just don't like it.
Landlock stops us from having potential support and growth, especially in the future, though. Clearing the defined boundaries makes it have potential for us to, without having to necessarily grow our footprint outside and put in more infrastructure. Gives more immediate. It's just potential.
I'm with Mayor Pro Tem. I don't feel comfortable.
Can we just postpone this and the meeting's already and we have more to go. Because Mayor, I think we get it, that it's kind of overarching proposal, really to kind of start the discussion at a state level too. And we specifically may have those needs at some point, because we've talked about it, right? To just, some of it is just to ensure the green belt and so forth. I mean, this could help in those situations where we just, but I think for me right now, I would rather,
Well, this is just discussion right now.
yeah,
on
let's
this, so.
just, I think,
And I think that,
we keep it at discussion.
and I think that's trustee, Cadena, that's one of the biggest things that you, and key factors on why. So, and it touches on trustee Garcia's too. Yeah, let them come to us and be a part of us. But now we got to tear apart our land potentially to make that happen, right? So this incrementally makes growth happen to support the town in a different way. Potentially. And I'm not saying, because who knows, it's got to go, it has to be approved by legislators. It has to be signed off by the governor. There's extreme process in this. This isn't something that happens.
Yeah, and that's
now.
that's the way I see it. It's a start the discussion. It's not a done deal. If you approve this, that it's going to happen at all. It's
Yeah,
just
and
a-
it could completely
So,
die at the.
I kind of in favor of moving forward and just hashing it out because it's going to go to the legislature eventually, and that's where the votes they will vote on whether this becomes a reality or not. So
Let me see. There's
Well, I think it'll become a reality.
That's what I.
I mean, and rightly so. I think it's a good thing. I just think it's a lot to process.
this was 2025.
So we went item F. I'll make a motion to propose.
Any other discussion? The reason why I'm bringing forward the discussion and the approval is because the municipal league needs to get started on at least the planning and getting the ideas flowing, and it's the 1st of June to get that going. That's why I was looking for the exact date.
What other municipalities are proposing this type of resolution?
Well, it's not proposing the resolution, so
To the boards.
we would be proposing it, but it could be adopted by 8 other municipalities, small municipalities, but it's a review of all.
So we're the only
We're
ones
the only
at this
ones.
point.
Yeah, and that's the process.
That's so.
That's indefinitely the process of how that works. It's the individual, you know what is needed within your community. You bring forward the policy changes in state statute. that
So we're
you-
asking the league to do this for us?
Yes.
Oh, hell no.
And that's
Okay.
no, and
I'm sorry,
that's
didn't mean to
that's
say
not
that.
even, but it was already a conversation that was floated around.
I know. Okay, so now I kind of see the bigger picture. This is something that you would like to propose to the municipal league, and then we find out who else is on board with this.
No, there's other municipalities that are
That's
on
why I
board.
asked, who are they that are
So that's
bringing
what I'm
resolutions to
telling
their
you
board?
here. All right, let me pull up that. Legislative policy proposals.
Man,
I mean,
honestly, I mean, I feel like
here, I'll just,
yeah, like this is I mean, it's a good idea. I mean, I think that none of us are disagreeing with it. Oh, June 3rd.
I have people at work who have that black background and I don't see how they see.
Okay. I see. So it won't happen at all this year unless they get something by June 3rd so they can start
Right.
looking at it. So they won't even start looking at doing this through the legislature, proposing it to the legislature.
And all it is there again is a legislative proposal.
That for a lot of people to start looking.
It's kind of being shoved down our throats if this email was sent April 28th. Didn't we have a meeting in May? Or did we miss one?
Well, it doesn't
We
matter.
did miss one.
We did miss one, right? Okay.
But I think it's a discussion item. I mean, I
No,
think
it's approval.
it's approval, but it's still going to be a discussion item.
Well, not according to this.
It's not a done deal. It's just an idea to move forward.
Right.
And that's why I think to get it into the legislative for the next session.
Right.
So I think it should merit some consideration. So
Well, in talking to AJ, Rebecca, everybody with the municipal league, I mean, even the board of directors, because I brought it up to potentially be looked at last year and to get a feeling in that, just to see what people thought of it. And it wasn't germane for the 30-day session.
I see. So this is even looking at that we're going into a 60-day session, so they may have time to propose it.
Yeah.
Because it's not budgetary. And it's not even that it would even hit the floor, much
It
less
may
that,
not.
much
It may
less that
not.
there's even a bill sponsor. There's
no,
not.
I mean, there's a lot
there's
of
so
ifs.
many
I mean,
different
yeah.
components in it.
Well, it's not as obvious as it is.
It's the one way to look at it. It's a process of going through the municipal league to get their vetted support, if they support it on that side, other than a legislator just carrying it directly. So it's good, affecting getting the support of municipalities across the state if it happens. It might not even happen that way. There again, just discussion.
Yeah.
Any other questions or discussion?
I just don't feel comfortable.
Next item on the agenda, 9F, approval resolution 2026-26 municipal boundary legislation proposal.
So moved.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevadis. And I will second that to continue the discussion. Any further discussion? Gloria, if you'll roll call vote, please.
Trustee Nevada,
Yes.
trustee Garcia,
No.
trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burr,
No,
Mayor Hernandez.
Yes.
Roll call is up. Roll call is 3 yeses and 2 noes.
The resolution 2026-26 will move forward as it has been approved. Next item on the agenda, item 9G, approval for Querencia Mi Mesilla volunteer support in shoring up the back wall of the blacksmith property.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by trustee Nevadis, seconded by trustee Cadena. And I will open it up for discussion. I know Mr. Taylor is here as well with that. So just in general, this is where, as we discussed kind of briefly in the last meeting, that Querencia has offered to help in supporting volunteer-wise to shore up the back wall and the blacksmith property, which we were out there a little bit earlier today, and it is deteriorating pretty badly. Does need some help in that. One of the things is this is the volunteer, so that on that side it's the time is what's being supported. The town would still be needing to pay for the supplies that are there, and it's estimated right now to be Mr. Taylor and I spoke about it a little bit, between probably $500 to $1,000. I don't think it'll be more. You said about 550, right? But maybe up to 1,000 potentially in supplies.
550 is material estimate. And we're just doing one line of short.
On that. Great. Awesome. Trustees, any questions?
Mm-mm.
And we can get that out of our maintenance budget on that.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. I know.
Here I am.
You need
wearing a-
parkas when you're in here. You need to because it gets heated up here.
Trustees, any other questions?
No.
Gloria, I'm sorry, motion on the floor by trustee Nevada, second by trustee Cadena. Gloria, if we can have a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much for approval of the Querencia Mi Mesilla volunteer support for the blacksmith property, and I'll be in touch with that. I'm a member of the team will. Next item on the agenda, 9H for approval, I work as asset management proposal.
So moved. Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. And I'll open it up for discussion. I did provide the service agreement for the asset management program for iWork, which was the one that we were talking about. I told you I would bring this forward to you in the next meeting. So it's about a little less than $15,000 a year deal for the application itself, and that would be a yearly commitment. And then I did have the Souder Miller and Associates provide a quote for what it would be like to get the roads and water system and sewer system and incorporated into the program so that part is up and ready to roll. Other areas of the program that would benefit the town, we would roll out in phases moving forward. So right now, with that in mind, we're looking at about a $65,000 investment that it is the request to get started by the end of the year, if possible.
Mayor, so it's going to be $13,800 annually. The setup fee is going to be waived if this is the agreement signed by May 29th. But it says, but we will still require an engineering setup cost. So what is that engineering?
That's what the Moulton and Corbin agreement is on that, and taking care of that. So that's at $49,994. That was the one I added that to you because I didn't have that cost from
This right here.
Okay, no wonder I couldn't
or
find it.
Souder Miller at the time.
Okay, I couldn't find it.
Sorry, I
and
meant to tell
was-
you that it wasn't there because I just got that from them today.
Okay.
The
it's-
finalized.
And I'm sorry, repeat how much it's going to cost again for the engineering?
49,995.
Okay,
So 50,000.
okay. I thought I was losing my mind, which
And
is still a possibility.
Me too.
with this in mind as well, because we've been on and up with revenues, we should have potentially a little left over to cover that, but we would still need a bar by the end of the year to make sure that we have the adequate taken care of. And those transfers are made appropriately into the correct line items. Is there any other questions, trustees? Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Garcia. There is no further discussion. Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 All right, thank you very much for approval of the iWork asset management proposal. It's going to work some wonders for sure. Next item on the agenda, 9I for approval resolution 2026-25 bar for the fourth quarter.
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek, seconded by Trustee Cadena. We'll open it up for discussion, if any. Seeing as there is no discussion, Gloria, if we can roll call vote, please.
Trustee Cordero?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Navarro?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is called yes.
Thank you very much for approval of resolution 2026-25 for our fourth quarter bar. Next item on the agenda is public input. If there's any more public input.
Thank God.
So we spoke about section 106, regarding the historic preservation. It was brought to the attention that we needed to find out who the federal undertaker was that approved the plan. From start to finish, there should have been a federal undertaker council that stands for section 106. That was in the voting, that was in the planning, that was in everything that occurred. So I have with me, I have one, but back in 2016, it says this was the final plan for the the loving we have out here now. Nowhere on this plan did it show any of the lights. It showed one where the school light was at.
I see.
Previous administration acknowledges that there was one that was noted and they felt we needed for safety because of the school and the traffic back and forth, etc.
Right.
Outside of that, none others were discussed. None others are listed here. As I went ahead and took a look at the sign-in sheets, the input, who attended the meeting, emails attached here, I don't see anything from a federal undertaker. So my request is, this is something that I'm gonna put on you as a mayor and you as board of trustees. My hands are limited of how much I can do. I will be ever requesting, but perhaps it's time that you seek and find out who that federal undertaker is. Because with all the adverse effects that we are facing now, Council Jamie from Washington said that we need to get in touch with the federal undertaker that has been on step one with this. I don't see one noted. I have not heard one. I also wanted to say that in regards to the privacy, the safety. Yes, it's not going to be a one size fits all, but for the most part, majority, all of those clients or all of those residents along that back wall are in fear of privacy, safety. There have been trash, there has been vodka bottles, there has been debris such as rock, such as dirt, such as bags, such as you name it, in people's property. We have an elderly woman. So town of Mesilla, everybody knows everybody. We're all gonna look out for each other. We do that with our elderly, we do that with our kids, we do that with our neighbor. You show up at my door and my neighbor doesn't know who you are, I'm getting a phone call.
Right.
Asking, are you expecting someone in your yard? You have an elderly resident who had to walk around Capri Arc, McDowell, into that little slope between the walking path and her yard to pick up trash. As a person that has elderly parents, that concerns me. She slips, she falls, that's a broken hip. Will she recover from it? We don't know. Why? She's immobile. She runs a risk of developing pneumonia while she's immobile. All of this can come into play. Why should she be out there having to pick it up? I get it. We were told, yes, contact NMDOT, contact. However, Trustee Garcia heard a very, I'm gonna say it wasn't with a spoonful of sugar.
Continue.
Concerns about they tried contacting NMDOT. NMDOT showed up to her door one time. She was busy, asked them to come back because she wasn't completely dressed yet. They never went back. To this day, they have not shown up. I will say, Trustee Garcia did get one person from the town of Mesilla to go visit this poor lady. Outside of that, nobody else has set foot on her door. We have another one, he couldn't be here today, with a child who also has ran into the same concern. So wall, yes, it's wanted. They want the rock wall, they want the barrier. We have the lady that we're referencing with the swimming pool. She hasn't called the insurance in yet because she's afraid that they're gonna drop her. And the likelihood of that occurring is gonna happen. So what I'm getting at is that it looks like there is a lot of inconsistencies from start to finish with what occurred in this project. We have a section 106 with historic preservation, with colonial status, not only for the town of Mesilla, but even for Mesilla Park. It is not only the residents' responsibility, but also yours to start looking into that. Start digging into it, start what come across. We reference often that there was contract, that there, something was already agreed upon, hands are tied. I have requested contracts, I received nothing. I've gone to NMDOT's website, there's nothing there. The only thing I'm handed with is a maintenance agreement. As I said before, we all have friends, high places, low places, etc. Maintenance agreement is not the same thing as a contract. Contract is gonna carry a lot more in depth into it than what a maintenance agreement says. The only thing that has ever been given to me that has been an agreement to what we have up here is a maintenance agreement. There has been no contract, nothing else. Federal undertaker should have been involved, nothing's in here on any of the sign-in sheets. Gone on the website, nothing's on there. So I guess my question is where are we gonna move forward from here? We are asking for your support. We are in need of your support. We have been left out in the cold to have to battle, to have to defend, like I said, there has only been one trustee that has walked the whole neighborhood. And she has not been received kindly. I would be the first one to say that. Every neighbor has had so much to say and she's taken the brunt of it, taken it face value and heard it. I have been in contact with Mayor Hernandez. I have been letting him know. But what I'm asking is take our town of Mesilla back to what it was and build upon. This is not who we are. This is not what we should continue to be. And let's stand on why we were declared a historic preservation. We shouldn't be folding to the state without all the legal documents, with all the right documents in place. We shouldn't be sitting here and sounding like we're defeated and having to wait. It's called accountability. It's called research. It's called doing what's right. And that is my request now, is let's get done what needs to be done right. We're not backing off. It's not gonna happen. And hopefully with section 106 and hopefully as we proceed forward, it will be done. But just to respond as to why NMDOT, they don't answer. They have been contacted several times.
Yeah.
Several. People's property has been damaged. People's property has had things in it. The lines are in their property. Paso Electric has been notified. NMDOT has been notified. EBID has been notified. They're not at the door. So if you're taking at fast face value of what they're promising you, I can assure you right now, it's not pretty.
It's true.
Thank you, Mrs. Estrada.
I just have a quick comment, question about when this all started out, signing on, who signed off on all this, the change. When I'm looking at what her files are right here back in 2016, it shows that the plan was not to touch any of that, not to touch anything that was close to their properties. A sidewalk was going to be put in at a lower level. When they started the project, they're looking at is they going to lower that? How are they going to do that? People are going to be walking looking at someone's bedroom, someone's backyard, privacy. And at the end of it, it should have been brought up while the project was being done, right? It could have been maybe fixed at that time. When you don't, and you're limited to the accessibility of actually going into the construction zone, you can't really tell, right? So when it does open, you drive by, it's too late already. So you wait till the end result. It needs to be fixed. Prioritize. Like the lights, dimming them down, I'm glad to hear that just to start out. It's probably the next step. But the people on the privacy side on that entire university need to be dealt with first. That wall needs to be put up. The wall doesn't get put up, it needs to be plowed all the way down and redone, the sidewalk put down a lower level. There's just things that need to be done. So I just ask you guys, please, help us out.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other public comment? Move on to our next Board of Trustee committee reports and trustee comments. Trustee Nevares.
Just really briefly, I did meet with the community economic director to just catch up on the different things that are going on in that area. I also attended the preservation webinar that was held here in the town hall about a week or so, or 2 weeks ago, I think. And I attended the Taylor Museum Friends board meeting. I did attend the NMDOT meeting at Zia Middle School, and I also attended the blacksmith shop occurred at 11 o'clock this morning. So those are just some of the things that I was attended. Thank you.
Comments? You don't have any comments?
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Garcia.
We had an MPO meeting on May the 13th. Did approve the 3 to prioritize. 2 of them were Mesilla, 1 of them was from Las Cruces. Number 1, we voted for McDowell, correct? 2 was Las Cruces, and then 3 was
Colon.
Cologne. Which one?
Cologne.
Cologne was number 3. So they're gonna work on McDowell first. I also attended the university, and I will always go to that university one. As in public comments, I think we do got to get that federal undertaker. And I think I went to all the committee meetings that they had with university that was held at the community center. Andrew was there as well too on some of them. I think we could start there with Andrew and get that contract, because they had the boards on there, and she's right. There was no sign of lights. There was only supposed to be one right there by the public schools. It was not supposed to be that high. It was supposed to be at level ground. They're 100% right. And she wasn't joking when I went down that street. I got an earful. I took it. I took every bit of it. The cussing, the yelling, the complaining. I mean, I stood there with them for 15 minutes to an hour each person, and it was not pretty, but I got reminded while I was here, Estrada has done so much research, and you see, if they're asking us to get the undertaker, we can at least do that for them. And I think if we send Andrew an email and ask him, like, where's the contractor, who we need to go to, or what, and everything. And also too, I think Trent was retiring right when it started. I don't remember. Trent was on there when this university project started, and then it traded off. So between them two, somewhere the mix-up was at, but.
And are you saying Andrew?
Andrew from
Or
MPO,
Aaron?
yeah, he did some presentations here at the community center.
And he gave me everything that he has. Which
Yeah.
Isn't much of anything.
Yeah, he was here. He did some presentations there at the community center as well too, but he can help us find something, I know we also have an MPO meeting next week.
Mhm.
I mean, we can bring that up and ask them, DOT to,
Week after next, June 10th.
June 10th. Oh, 2 weeks from now, my bad. June 10th, yeah. I mean, we can ask them, but we need to help these people, man. Not just, it breaks my heart, and I will defend them 110% all the way, because you guys did not hear the yelling and cussing that I got from it. And it wasn't pretty. They're old people. I got mad at that lady that was picking up trash. I told her, don't you do that again. I would hate to be the one to find her on the floor, and I would hate to find any of them on there. And they have called DOT, and DOT does not respond to their concerns or anything. And they laughed at them. That's one thing I will not forget. And yeah, I did get mad about it. Yeah, I did shout it out about it. Like, this wasn't a joking matter. Those are my residents you're laughing about. You will not laugh at them with their concerns. You won't. So I'll say it again, walk those streets, you guys. Walk them. Please. Remind yourself why you're on this chair. Are you in this chair for yourselves? Or are you in this chair for the residents? We're their voice. We're not our own. We're theirs. Remind yourself about that. Think about it. Just don't go to attend events and be all happy and signing up, pictures. No, there's some people that are upset out there. Keep it all equal. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Trustee Garcia. Trustee Cadena.
See, there is not going to be a transit meeting this week this month for June. So that's been canceled. I did attend the foundation meeting. Yeah, and I've already stated that I attended Zia and so forth. So yeah, I think everything's been reported out already that I attended. I just want to make sure that the Public Works gets thanked during Public Works Week, and I do see you everywhere. And I went to the garden today. Something's eating the squash, but the squash plants, but I don't know.
Cabbage.
The cabbage.
The cabbage is being eaten
Better
by a
than
worm.
aphids.
Yeah.
You meant
But-
like bugs, like
But
aphids.
anyway, so
Soap and water.
so thanks Public Works for all that work. That's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee. Mayor Pro Tem.
Like Trustee Garcia's mentioned, we had the MPO meeting. The next one is June 10th. I don't know if this is going to be the last one at the Government Center or the first one at City Hall. So I can't recall.
Still at the Government Center.
So, okay,
Yeah.
all right. And that's all I have. Thank you.
I think I just approved that agenda earlier.
Yeah.
Good. Glad. County. I'm
All
writing
right.
that down.
As it was mentioned earlier, we had the garden club that met us out and we did the planting, the red, white, and blue in the circle. And it does, those flowers are now starting to, they've taken and they're starting to bloom. So you really see those colors coming through. It looks great. The other planting that happened or has been happening is because of the Clean and Beautiful funding that we've received in the past. And we do have, it's still a little bit of money to spend on that. So we'll be buying more plants before the end of the month to try to get that closed out and done and planting those. So keep an eye out. I've been trying to help out the team where I possibly can to get out there with them, which is also a good thing because then we get to spend that one-on-one time with them. As I mentioned earlier, we did get 2 grants awarded, and those are for our Colonias application. So that is going to end up being a total of about $3.2 million worth of funding that we'll be receiving. 2.5 that's dedicated to the water well construction, and then 700,000 dedicated to the fire hydrant replacement. So we will be getting those applications moving forward. Those do have matches that are there, so I'll be bringing that as part of that. But the matches can also be done in the form of a loan that's cut out the top, so we can figure that out as we move forward on that. We did have the DOT public meeting, as it was mentioned. I do have a DOT coordination meeting this upcoming week where we're talking about all of their streets and roads within, so on and so forth. It's a yearly meeting where I meet with the DOT leadership and members of their group, along with Lorenzo and Eddie are a part of that as well, and Brianna for funding on that side. There is a Visit Las Cruces Lodgers tax meeting this upcoming week, as well as a Que Linda cohort meeting, a New Mexico Municipal League board meeting, board of directors meeting. I do have a Region 5 CEO meeting, which is the workforce development meeting, an MPO executive meeting, and then our regular MPO meeting. So I got meetings coming up, and then that's the nature of the beast sometimes. We did have a meeting last week with our self-insured with our company and going over OSHA violations and potentials for that if we were to get audited. We do have some deficiencies, nothing major, which is great, so little things that we can work on to really target on that. So
What did we do wrong?
What's that?
What's there that's wrong?
They're gonna send us the list. So he said that it's gonna be a long list, but it's good compared to other municipalities. So, and the biggest part of that is it's good because it hasn't been done. So then it allows us to see what needs to be fixed and how we can fix it. And it ends up being a violation. It's 100 per violation. So not something we want. So we'll get everything fixed ASAP. But other than that, just good overall. I did have a conversation with the post office to see about the ability of us where we have our board there, if we can put up some containers on the side to hold like newsletters and the preservation times that Liana's been working on, to have those so residents can take them and we can just keep them filled. And also whenever we have any other handouts that we're giving out, that way residents can actually take them with them. So we will have that hopefully coming. They said one said yes, but needed to check with the other one for sure. As Eddie had mentioned earlier, we're working on the nuisance ordinance and updates on that for nuisance, including the hearing examiner, and hopefully we'll be moving that through the public hearing and public process and getting that taken care of. I'm going to do a community meeting for continued discussion about park infrastructure, the town hall edition, as well as updates to other projects, and be open to other capital project ideas from the community on June 6th, which is Saturday at 9 a.m. I'll probably do it here in the deal, and I'm going to try to get it on not a newsletter, but at least something mailed out to the residents to give them notice on that. That's separate from their utility bills. That way they have that.
What time on June 6th?
9. I do want to note that I just found out that I will be out of town for our June 15th meeting. So Mayor Pro Tem, I'll need you to run that meeting. I'm going to an agro-tourism and sustainable grow deal with Marcon Farms for food service side, but I'm going to try to pull back as much as I possibly can for our own community. So,
Okay, June 15th.
yeah, if you're able to.
Oh,
I
we
think-
actually don't have a meeting. It's
The-
the 8th and 22nd.
Is it about? Oh, it is the 8th. Oh, okay, never mind. Perfect. Never mind that. See, that's my days are. Oh, it's P and Z. Never mind. Scratch that. Oh,
Good.
It's gonna be good information to bring back.
And I wouldn't have minded, of course. But I was like, when you said.
Wait
that,
a
I was
minute.
like, Yeah.
These 5-week months throw me off.
I know.
And unless there is objection,
We need to add Mayor Pro Tem to the bank.
Done.
Oh, done?
Yeah.
yeah,
they're-
we
they're
got it
waiting.
all done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee. Yeah.
No, I'm done.
Any other discussion?
Mm-mm.
And if there is no other discussion, the time is now 9:07, and I will call this meeting as adjourned. Thank you very much.
Things seem to be done sooner than.
But even then, what I understand from that federal section.